losses were in the first round. So they're getting even more dominant as time comes along. And obviously this round hasn't finished, but they only have 2 matches left. So.
This one and the match against Bro.
Yeah, the kicker, the final one, what it all comes down to. And after Bro lost to DRX, they're probably going to win against GENG.
I don't know if I agree with that sentiment, but I do understand what you're saying. If we're believing in curses and all that.
It just, you know, you cast the LCK for long enough, you start to believe in weird things.
Yeah, no, I thought you guys were never going to get me. Chronicler I think he's been gotten a long time ago. He just lies to everyone about it. He's like, curses aren't real.
He's just in denial.
As he grips his chair tightly.
They can't be. It's not possible.
They can't hurt me.
If I say they're not real, they're definitely not real.
Let's index into this draft a little bit now, as we do see an Azir ban towards Chovy, even with no Taliyah ban. So that's interesting. The Gwen makes sense, and Keen has been one of his best picks. The Pantheon is the most impactful jungler right now, so taking that away from Canyon, who might be the best jungler at this moment in time with some of the performances we've seen from Owner recently, is a wise choice. And that final ban, we'll see what this ends up being here. I don't think you want to first pick Taliyah necessarily in this draft. It'll be Poppy that gets taken away. This pick has been so successful. It was even successful for Bro initially, as they're just going to deny the Nidalee. By the way, Nidalee's win rate just goes up. Like, I remember when it was like 56, I was like, that's pretty high. Then it was like, you know, 65, I'm like, well, that's really high. We're like pushing 80.
There was a time we were at like 88, I think, when it was like 13-1 or something ridiculous. I mean, it's still insanely high for a champion that's only getting played more and more. But yeah, having a champ that gets played this much and is that high is not okay.
The Xin Zhao makes sense. We'll see if Chovy just wants to grab the Taliyah. Even though there's no Azir on the other side, it's still a strong pick when you get the Xin Zhao here. They're going to index into the Rumble, though, instead. Like that Rumble pick for King, get a little prio on the top side.
No Yone ban.
Yeah, and weaken also the Nidalee top pick, so this is definitely going jungle now.
Yeah. BD definitely has played a good amount of Yone in the past. I think if you pick it here, it allows you to take it away from Chovy in the future.
Yeah.
And it's also great with your AP jungler. It just feels like this makes sense. When I saw the Ornn, I had a moment of pause, like maybe they're not going to, but...
Yeah, because the Ornn doesn't necessarily work well with it, but it works incredibly well with the Nidalee, as you mentioned. That was kind of what I had in mind as well. It's rare for it to be open, but if Chovy gets his hands on it in this draft, it is a disaster for you as well. So I do think this is a wise option. We see so much Ahri. Right now, she is incredibly powerful. She's got a below 50% win rate because everyone is picking her. And we've seen her picked in situations where she's left open when there's not a lot of synergy in the draft and she doesn't find success there. But this is a perfectly fine angle for it, and it can be a very strong matchup into the Yone. Kai'Sa taken away. It's a little bit puzzling to me. We'll maybe get some more information of when the rest of the draft comes through as to why that might be. As really might just be looking for an Ezreal pick, for example, which does make sense. But we don't have all the info just yet. Might mean an Ezreal ban does come out in that final spot for KT Roaster. The Kalista is gone. Varus is still up. So, you know, you could ban that as well if you really want to make the Ezreal pick feel safe for Ruler. Considering a support ban, though, it looks like. No,
maybe.
Ezreal going to be taken away, so... Interesting.
What are we playing here, Ruler? He's liked his Jhin. I mean, a lot of our top 80 carries have liked their Jhin. It definitely feels like fantastic setup with Rumble. You know, Jhin Rumble. A lot of pick potential. Can be pretty weak against the Ornn, though.
Yeah.
A lot of backline dive with that Ornn Yone.
Maybe they were just looking for Lucian Braum, and they felt like that would have been, you know, problematic for them, both of those picks into it. But I'm on board with like one or the other of the Kai'Sa Ezreal, both of them together. It's a little bit unusual. Now the Braum is gone, and the Jhin that you mentioned just feels pretty obvious when you have Ahri Xin Zhao. Now you have Ahri Jin Zhao.
Jin Zhao, yes.
Which is so scary because you've got a really strong setup. Follow-up is pretty easy. Xayah feels very strong here into the Ahri, but feels very weak into the Jhin in terms of getting in and closing the gap and actually doing that damage. It means that BDD and Cuz are going to have to do a lot of work, a lot of setup, a lot of the legwork for the Xayah, who isn't really in a safe position here, as the crank for Duro.
The crank?
I think with Ornn as a frontliner, I'm not super about that life. I do like the Rel a little bit more. Sets up your equalizers, and now you have both like pick potential with the Ahri, but also hard engage. Even though it's Jhin, and we don't normally say this about Jhin compositions, I feel like Genji's comp is extremely well-rounded, whereas KT's composition, like you mentioned, you and I kind of felt like, okay, the Ornn plus the Yone is a little bit weird, but it still can work. But now your late game scaling Xayah that's going to get ornaments isn't necessarily going to be able to do damage with them if she can't close the gap. And yeah, you can ult a charm, sure. You can get out of a part of the Rel engage and get out of part of the Xinjiao, but there's just too many things. You know, this is, we talk about all the time in the past, like, oh, this is a great Xayah angle because there's so many threats, but you only get one ultimate. And there have been so many good Xayah angles this season where I'm like, yes, this is actually a really good Xayah angle. I feel like this one makes me remember the old ones where I'm like, ooh, it's safe, but for just a second, and then otherwise you struggle, and you're gonna struggle into the Jhin. So I like what Gen G put together here, a lot more Valdez.
Not the first time somebody said that, and I kind of do agree. I think they've landed on something that is very tier listy, but also works very well together. And on this side, I mean, they get a lot of power picks. I think BDD's Yone can certainly shape this game, and I think if they're going to win this game, it's probably going to come through him and Cuz. Also not the first time anyone has said that about KT. As we're ready, game number 1 is loaded up. Let's hop into the Rift. All right, game number 1, KT versus Gen G.
That's right. I'm glad to see both mid laners are respectful. They know the rules.
Cuz had other ideas.
Yeah, it's all part of the game, but it's not respectful to throw spears like that. But it's okay.
Yeah. We'll forgive you this time, Cuz.
Yeah, I mean, I will, because he didn't hit him, so he's just throwing.
What about this time? Do you forgive him now?
Well, we're out of the, like, hold position in front of each other now.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah. Minions have spawned. We're not hold position dancing and like, you know, doing emotes. So, well, I mean, BDD and Chovy are doing emotes at each other, but that's a different thing entirely. That spear makes sense. That's why it's the one that hits.
The other ones didn't make sense. So
yeah, no, I have really ambiguous rules about what I think is okay, Valdez. And I'm just gonna need you to accept it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I get it.
Oh, BDD.
Oh, GG. Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Chovy hits those. Oh,
he knows how to, like, I swear he knows how to, like, auto in between minion hits that look like they're going to hit at the same time. Like, it's definitely possible. Like, I know that you can do that, but, like, he's just so good at it. Maybe that's his secret.
Do you ever feel like, okay, this is crazy. This is just this crazy feeling I have, but sometimes when I'm playing League of Legends, you ever feel like the game sometimes forgives you? Where, like, you're like, oh, I missed that one, but then you get it anyways?
Yeah.
And like, I feel like there's like a small forgiveness thing in the code that's like, no, it's, you know, you were close enough, you can have it. Like, I've never even like Googled this. Maybe it's a thing everyone's like, oh, of course that's the thing, Wolf. But I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like
I would have heard about it.
Chovy knows it if it's real. Is what I'm getting at. Like, Chovy's like, nope.
He knows how to abuse it.
You're
like, nah, I know how to.
You're like, I think he missed that one, and then it's like, pa-ching, and he gets it.
Ooh, I like that charm. And he doesn't even miss the minions. He did miss one, though. I'm not sure which wave it was on. That's all I'm really watching right now. But it's okay, because he's only missed one so far.
Foxfire timing, then the Orb of Deception to harass and also secure the CS between autos.
He's chovying so hard right now.
He is really chovying.
Ahead 7 CS, wow.
He's 50% ahead. At 3 minutes.
Just when you thought the LCK broadcast could not glaze Chovy harder.
Cuz?
It was all a bait all along. But yeah, it's Fione Nidalee, and if Fione does not get the knock-up into a spear, Ari is never dying.
Perfect is doing a good job in this Ornn Rumble matchup in the top lane. Holding his own up there as, okay.
Mid-trade, he threw out the orb to get the last 2 minions. He's so focused, man. He's so in the zone. We got a little dive brewing here. And let's see who does get the aggro. It is going to go over to Duro, and a ton of damage already comes out. The CC layering was perfect as well. Very clean dive to pick up first blood here for Duro.
You could see that Cuz was heading over, but he's not able to get there in time to affect the play. We're going to stop any subsequent follow-up dives here onto Duckdom, which I don't think GENG were really interested in anyways. But that is a kill onto Peter, like you said, that goes to Duro, so not the craziest scenario of all time, but still a small CS lead given over to Ruler in the Chaos as the wave crashes and they look for the dive. So he's generated a significant lead. Also has that assist, of course, even though it was split between 3. Peter's going to try to find something here. Nope, just a charm.
Oh, he's going to give the heal to BDD. That must have been what he was going for.
BDD has already used his Unbind, but Duro's not going to go in.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been having fun watching mid lane quite a lot. I do think, you know, the probably you're going to get early from the Ahri versus Yone is bound to happen. And that does mean that maybe GENG can look for this Drake. We do have a trade up on the top side, actually. Fire going both ways as Ornn, a couple more autos, he'll get it. He had to flash, but he flashes late and dies to Duckdom, who wasn't even part of the fight.
That was a bit of a jump scare. I just thought, oh man, Perfect can maybe flash auto him. Let's see how quickly Keen reacts. And then the flash ranged attack is what does him in there from Duckdom. And that's a TP to go back to the top side here from Keen. As still a bit of supportal combat here in mid to see where the lane swaps do end up eventuating. As Canyon, with that prio he has in the bottom lane that they've had this whole time with Ruler, is going to at least be able to get this Drake.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that Duckdom's top 2, it feels like KT knew that they were not going to fight over this Drake, so they just say, well, we'll just give it up.
It's a lane swap bonus, you know? Duckdom's going top side, he gets a huge kill.
Keen does not have flash, and he's very far up the lane and just dies again. So that is going to be now 2 kills to Duckdom.
I mean, he didn't have vision in the river, so he didn't know that was coming, but I think he could have predicted.
And now Ruler is disrespecting the Ornn. It is going to miss, but if that hits...
If that hits, I mean, Perfect has flash. I think Ruler is just dead, 100%. Yeah. And he flashed so early that, like, that was... If Perfect plays that, like, 2% better, I think it's a kill. But end of the day, Ruler will at least be able to thank his lucky stars that he does get out alive, but now is flashless. Is KT a bit of a day out in this one so far? Keen, a little bit of disrespect in the top lane, getting punished.
Yeah, I do feel like GENG are not exactly respecting KT very much just yet.
Not true respect.
Yeah.
Not the...
They're also having a day out, but it's the kind where you, like, start early in the day and you're out in the sun all day and you've, like, had a couple of beverages and... Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Which can be fun, but it doesn't win you League of Legends.
Monday is kind of, or like KT's that Monday looming responsibility, you know?
Yeah. All right, nice little unbind there. Going in on to Peter.
Ruler with
taking a bunch of damage.
Assist as well in there, trying to get involved. This game is not really what I had on my expectations after watching the draft, where it's just a 2v2 in mid, as Chovy's putting on so much pressure here. Supports have been surfing through the mid lane this entire time, and then lane swap eventuating in 2 kills for Duckdom in the early game. So draft expectations kind of off the cards here, as Keen still doesn't have flash, but Peter doesn't have ult, though he does have a little bit of extra movement speed with the heal. We're going to see a grub group for GENG.
Grub group?
It's a grub group.
A GG?
A group for grubs.
We have generous Giga Chat, but we also have grub group. All right, we got the grub group for the grubs.
GENG's grouping faster, man. They're the grub group.
Yeah. Their grub group is better. It is greater. We're going in on to Peter, who does not have that flash, but he is Rakan. So Nice little play. Get some health out. Meanwhile, Perfect's just chunking the turret.
That's what grub groups do. If somebody ever invited you to a grub group, I'm trying to invite my solo queue teammates to when I play jungle, that's generally what's supposed to happen. They never come. They're like, grub group is lame. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Have you seen Duro? Do you see, like, it was his first time in the grub group. He gets a big ult. He wins the fight for him. Come on, group for grubs.
He did zone them out of the grub group.
Yeah.
They were no longer taking any applicants to the grub group.
Yeah.
Yeah. GENG members only. Again, some assist from the side. Chovy is still Ahri, and barely enough mana to just cast his ult.
I feel like this mid lane is like Marvel versus Capcom. Like it's a 1v1 battle, but you keep throwing out all these abilities trying to impact the 1v1. Oh, boy.
And Chovy is actually smart here. He doesn't have vision. He doesn't know if he could have been dove there, but plays it safe, and then he comes in here and gets all the minions.
I should have said 2x KO. Similar idea, you know? I'm just old.
Yeah.
I'm just old.
True.
He's
got that Unk energy. Ruler, yeah, he's going to heal. He's going to get away.
Yeah, they get a heal. It's a heal in exchange, though, from Peter. Conquer procced. Ruler still interested.
Yeah, he's going to get 4 of those minions from miles away.
This game,
just Jin things.
This game has not really given a lot of time to breathe. I'm like, every second, someone's almost dying. Skill sets are always flying. It's only a 3-kill game, but a lot of pressure on by the supports and the junglers in this game to look for any possible angle. Everyone's having a big amount of action all the time, even though it's not leading to kills necessarily. Second dragon is up. GENG have a ward in the tri-brush below the pit, as well as a control ward in the pit itself. And Chovy just TP'd back to lane. Should be able to come over here and help Canyon start this one up. But he's doing Raptors, in fact, and Chovy's not holding a ton of prio right now. He's charms, man.
Yeah. You know, if you're going to dash forward in a straight line towards the Ahri, can be a bit predictable, but Chovy has been on the money with those every single time.
And just keeps you from taking too many bad trades.
Yeah, Ruler does not have Flash, but he does have a team.
He's got Swifties.
Yeah. And now they are looking for Cuz, who is not in a good spot. And over the wall goes Duro, and this time his engage will amount to a kill.
Yeah, so KT didn't know that Duro's also in the Group for Dragons club. Group for Dragon.
There has to be a word for group that starts with D, right?
Give me a second.
Yeah.
No, I got nothing.
Dragon.
Drag him to Dragon.
Dragon Dungeon?
No.
It's just not hitting. It's not good.
Well, anyway, he's in the club Group for Dragon.
The club named Group for Dragon.
Yeah, Group for Dragon, or otherwise known as Dragon Doers. And they do Dragon, and he goes, and he's able to play through vision there. With Cuz looking for the angle, he's like, maybe I'll hit the spear onto the Jhin that's walking towards me for some reason. Boom.
Yeah.
That's when Duro appears. Flash Magnet Storm.
From the group of Dragon Doers.
Yes. Dragon doing dudes. He's one of them. And GENG end up getting all 3 grubs and both dragons. At the end of the day, they are the kings of objectives. Ruler and Canyon first getting their completed items here. Now catching up with Cuz and Duckdom, who had a significant lead earlier on in this game. And it's Hextech Soul. So you got 3 grubs for side lane power, turret destruction, 2 dragons into Hextech Soul. KT, though, 200 gold lead.
They are in the lead when it comes to the gold.
How much more gold can they get off of potentially killing someone here? Nothing, because they can't kill him. Because he's being respectful and he walks away.
What about the potential? You know, that has value too. It's like a stock option, right? You have the potential to buy or sell it in the future. It has value.
Would have been 300 gold plus assist gold split between the amount of killers.
Why don't they earn any money for having the potential for the dive, you know? That would be very realistic.
Yeah. Too bad.
Yeah. It just ends up being actually to your detriment generally. If you spend a lot of time looking for a dive and you don't get a dive, actually it doesn't, you don't get any value. So you just fall behind a little bit. They haven't fallen behind necessarily.
Yeah, no, not in
They
gold.
still have that 200 gold lead.
Yeah, they still got it.
Yeah.
Canyon put some pressure on here.
There's a guy in our jungle trying to steal the blue buff, and he hasn't given up.
Duro's also on the red buff Raiders club.
Uh-oh, Duck Tom going in. He's in range this time, and Ruler is just running really fast in a straight line.
Thought we might see an exchange of flashes.
Hey, that would have been good for Duck Tom, honestly, to trade with Jin, but...
So, what other clubs is Duro in, man? He shows up to every single tussle, and he's threatening and engages, his flash is back up.
Nice, looking for another engage. Eager engagers.
I did see, I saw in the yearbook, in Duro's yearbook, that he was in the Ward Wardens Club.
The Ward Wardens.
Yeah, he's...
that sounds like a really fun club.
He's known to contest wards with teammates that do join him for such endeavors. All right, Chovy has his Malignance done.
I think that first series kind of killed us.
Yeah, no.
I think we're done.
This is some good gameplay, though.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna hold it together.
Okay.
That's my promise.
You do that. I can't promise the same. Peter is fine.
Duro is, you know, and again, looking for an engage angle here. BDD is super deep. He is in trouble.
Yeah, we got Xin Zhao here. Canyon elects not to block it, even with his ult and flash available. They want to turn on to Perfect instead, who is Ornn. And you know what? With enough CC, they can get that job done. They say, you know, let's just start from the front, and then we'll go to the back. And now Canyon's going to use his ult. Peter in a lot of trouble here, although Chovy in a bit as well. But it was a bait all along as Cuz goes in, and he will go down immediately as now the engage comes in on a BDD, who is not going to get away. And we still have Jin ultimate. And one more shot will do it. He's not going to hit either of those, but it's fine. He's got Duro, who is emoting under the turret, and Genji Tika Master.
So they do get the Herald as well. On top of all of this, all of the kills, it looked so good for KT until it didn't. And BDD, you know, he gets out of the initial exchange because the block doesn't happen for Canyon. But unfortunately for Perfect, man, he didn't know, but I knew. I actually saw it. It was in my data packet earlier. That Duro's a former member of the Teleport in Tandem club, so he knows actually how to
teleport Timmies.
He knows how to teleport, engage in tandem with the teleports. So that's how he was able to block Perfect there. Doesn't going down as he joins late. Yeah. Perfect didn't know.
Yeah. Well, Peter's dead. Very sad. Nobody wanted to see that, but it's reality, and that means that Genji is going to take down the 3. And this is quickly turning into Genji, who a little bit of a slow start, but they didn't lose a beat. They didn't skip a beat.
No, they certainly didn't. And I think it goes back to the draft for me a lot. Like, you know, this Rel pick is doing everything, and then the follow-up from long range from Ruler, the Chovy engage, the engage from Canyon. It has both damage, but also insane power from so far away. And when you can read the map as well as Genji, it is really easy to get those punish catches. I mean, there were some mistakes from Keen, but that alone isn't going to win you a game. It's 2 kills on a Rumble. And you're going to have to play the map a little bit better. And Peter's looked for some good engages. It's not even like he's having a bad game. It's just that Duro having a little bit more impactful of one right now.
Yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. You're going to be playing out of your mind, but sometimes the enemy team is just better. And we already have objective bounties here in this game.
Kind of crazy.
Duro, he is alone, and he's just going to flash away. Gets actually the ult out of BDD as well.
Yeah, he was actually top 5 in the Engage Escape Room club there as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so he's known to get out of those, as it turns out, a bit slippery on the Rel. So gets BDD's ultimate and casually goes away.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah,
it's almost like he's been in that room before.
Yeah, he's just a multifaceted kind of guy. He's seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's experienced a lot. He is the least experienced player on his team, which is kind of scary to think about.
He saw enough in Challengers. You know, like if you play in Challengers for long enough. Speaking of which, Duckdom may have seen some things in Challengers himself that allows him to get out of that, and he just utilizes the walk strategy. Chovy's going to miss everything.
It happens. Now, we already mentioned that he's part of the red buff Raiders, but hasn't spawned yet, so he's...
That's also not the red buff, but...
Yeah. But like...
But he is part of the red buff
Yeah,
Raiders.
but red buff Raiders can also raid blue buffs. You clearly
Can they?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
It's the red buff Raiders.
Yes, but like they can also raid blue buffs. Like I said earlier, why do you think I mentioned it when they were raiding the blue buff earlier?
Yeah, I just didn't think it was possible.
You just thought I said the wrong thing trying to make an alliteration, didn't you?
Yes.
You didn't know.
Definitely.
You clearly weren't part of the red buff Raiders.
Yeah,
The red buff Raiders is we also raid blue buff.
Yeah, I didn't specifically want to join that club.
Chovy's second item is completed. He already has the shred. I don't know.
Chovy beginning to innovate again. Now everybody's just going to build it every single game. You know that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because Chovy built it, it's like, oh, well, now this is the build. We're going to see it in LEC, like, this weekend. They're going to be like, you know what? Chovy played that, so it must be good.
Honestly, it seems pretty good, to be frank with you, Valdez, but I think you kind of have to have a pretty significant lead and really good coordination and a strong team to back you up in order to make it work, but...
He's not even that far ahead.
No, it's like 700 gold. It's like, for Chovy, that's quite low.
Yeah. GENG as a team are almost 5,000 gold ahead.
Yes,
at 20 minutes.
That part is pretty problematic for KT Roaster
Still
right now.
have the Rift Herald, and they're just going to throw that into mid. Canyon is under no danger here, even with everybody here. And the Spear's not going to hit. The turret's going to go down as well. Chovy looks for it, gets Duckdom, gets the cleanse out. And now will he go for the follow-up engage? BDD goes in, but he's just kind of dying at the same time. As now the full engage comes in from Duro. The follow-up not quite there, but now the Jill over the top is going to get the snipe. And meanwhile, down goes the Rakan. BDD barely lives. As we got another route here, it is turning into a slaughter from GENG.
Yeah, unfortunately, Peter's attempt to save the play there with his ult is just not good enough. And I think that was what KT was really trying for, but Keen's ultimate gets a decent amount of work done, and just 2 kills. They don't get the inner turret, but they have their eyes on a bigger prize here in the Otacon. As the charge comes through, the turret lives, and then this is a moment where you see Peter look for the turn, misses the knock-up onto Chovy, though, and Canyon is Jinzhao. And then they kind of just stick around as Keen shows up and says, all right, well, they're all burning now. Perfect solo ults Chovy. When the fight is lost, as Canyon gets into the backline here and takes BDD down to like 2% health. And that's Herald, or sorry, Otacon, through Herald.
We got a little play in the bottom lane here. Duro might be in a little bit of trouble. We'll see if that escape room experience can help him out. He is going to live, and now the follow-up is coming through. A little bit of a TP, but a bit far away from the play, so not going to be able to force it here. Is GENG. Keen now down his teleport.
Yeah, he made a club for dodging called the Dodging Duros.
Ah, okay.
So he dodged a lot.
After joining so many clubs, he made his own club.
Yeah, he wanted one.
They're engaging on a Canyon for some reason. I don't know why they would do that. This deep in the jungle on top of an equalizer.
Oh, God, Valdez.
Cover your eyes. This is not safe.
I think KT are ready for game 2.
It's Hextech Soul, guys. 22 minutes.
Can Hextech Soul allow Duro to keep BDD in place?
Can Duro solo BDD?
Not quite. I don't think he was in that club, but...
Chovy has 0 kills, by the way. Just want to say slacking. I'm not very impressed.
009.
Yeah.
And it's not James Bond's number.
No, it's not. Trying to kill Ruler here. I think BDD, that was really his only objective, but he might live because of the disengage cone. Yep. I'm glad that was there. You know, you utilized that so well. He was planning for it all along. That's why it was there.
Yeah. Duro wants more. He's clearing this ward. We'll fight for ward clears as I described earlier.
He's the ward warden.
Yeah, he's known for that. He was the top ward warden in his high school. It was very extracurricular as Chovy doesn't go for it. Could have tried to go for a fun play there, but it is Rakan who would have been doing it into. This is like, okay, I get it. Ruler is, look at where Ruler is on the minimap. Rel is not here. So you're like, okay, surely 4v1. Nope. But it's not a 4v1, that's the problem. It's like, yeah, okay, Canyon can ult, but we'll still get him. No. KT. KT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think KT's feeling the frustration.
What goes up must come down.
Just kind of like their goal difference over time.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, last week they did win 2 series in 2-1 fashion. So I think after that good week, you know, unfortunate timing to hit GENG. If they had lost to BNK, dude, we'd be singing a different tune. But that is not the case here. VDD is going to snap back. We have the Ornn for disengage. Don't see that every day, as now the follow-up comes in from Chovy. We do see the Featherstorm, but he immediately dies after the Featherstorm. And the Xayah does not really help herself at all. It's just a clean ace. Everybody dies. The game is over. They still have Hextech Soul. Let's go next.
Yeah, I think I'm personally ready to move to game 2. I think KT, all 5 members probably at this point are ready as well.
You're a game 2 timer?
Yeah, actually there was a game 2 earlier, and there's going to be another one now.
Yeah, exactly. We almost had a game 4. That was crazy.
Pretty insane performance from everyone here on GENG, but got to give Duro a big shout out as Peter's trying to slow this one down.
Oh, they almost got Keen.
Almost.
Yeah. Keen was the only person who died in this game for GENG. 19-2 is going to be the, actually 20-2. It's going to be the final score. GENG make it quick and painless, and Canyon gets the zoom in.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying this was going to be a repeat of KT stopping GENG's streak, but I feel like this streak and this meta and this KT, I wasn't ready to trust the old adage of, you know, KT is going to stop you when you're at your best, KT's going to stop you when it seems impossible, when KT look like they're going to lose, that's when they rise up and win. Well, to be honest, after those 2 deaths on Keen, I was a little bit worried. And then things changed as KT made some, you know, pretty aggressive decisions and were punished by Rel time and time and time again. They catch on to Cuz, the fight at the blue buff, the top side engage, they catch on the TP, the bottom side fight, the flank there on the red buff on the bottom side. He had a few big moments in this game, but then Chovy's there to follow up. Canyon ults, goes down to 20% health, re-engages. GENG are all playing together all the time, and they're some of the best League of Legends players to ever play the game from different eras. It's a super team, and I think maybe this time they'll get the full undefeated season, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean, they still got to get another game against KT and then the final boss of Bro. We'll see if they can manage that, as it wasn't GENG's fastest win this series, or this season rather, but still a pretty fast one at 25 minutes plus a Hextech Soul. A lot to go through for KT. We're going to take a break and out the space. We'll be right back.
딸리니까 괜찮을 것 같아. 우리 싸움 많이 좋아. 이거 봐도 돼. 살짝 올려. 야, 요네. 야, 얘 따라와. 뭐야? 바뀌어있네? 야, 그냥 천천히 가자. 길게 하면 나 가을 수 있어. 보자. 끝날만? 끝낼만해. 탑으로 갈래? 탑으로 가자. 라인 이미 있으니까 탑에. 뭐야, 나 없이 끝나왔네. 왜 그랬어? 기인이 형 없으니까 내가 드디어 킬 먹네. 그러게. 또 기인이 형이네.
뭐야, 너 왜 16호씩이냐?
열심히 달렸다는 거지. 서폿이네. 뭐야, 나 서폿이랑 킬대시 똑같아. 뭐야. 서폿만 3명이네. 거인이, 너도 거인이네, 지금. 어서오고, 동지들. 길? 네, 역시. 길? 재혁이 형, 그냥 다 못될 줄 알았네. 잘 잡은 사람. 형이 형.
되나 이거? 네, 노공이긴 해요.
평소 이걸 잡아?
Had was 10-minute guaranteed Drake, 15-minute guaranteed third Drake, 20-minute Drake if the game, like the flowchart, it's like if game is still going.
Yeah.
Soul. And then like Elder coming after that, it just has an X over it, says not needed. Because GENG, their objective control is insane. They snowball games, and their macro that comes with it is just so crisp that it's hard to punish them. It's hard to find those angles outside of the early game where Keen played a little bit greedy. He died twice. That was it. That was all KT could get.
Yeah.
We're going to see the Azir banned again, the Pantheon banned again. That makes sense. Vi and Kalista one more time. There's the Gwen. The bans aren't changing. It doesn't look like here Valdez.
Yeah,
Poppy was the last ban last time.
If you're on the same side and you're playing GENG and you ban this the first time, you probably put a lot of thought into what your bans are going to be from the blue side, and you shouldn't change them. Like, are you going to leave King Gwen? No. Are you ever going to give Chovy Azir ever again? I don't know if any team will ever do that. Now, we do have a difference here.
Yeah, well,
Leah was banned.
I think maybe, yeah, this you could have gone for a first pick Poppy, which is flexible, but I don't like it as much as just going for the Rise with all these mid laners gone. Ahri, Azir, Yone, and now the Talia. So felt like a nice Rise angle there. See if this ends up being globally impactful here for KT Rolster, as didn't expect the Sejuani here. The Jace is kind of not a shocker to anyone. It's a really strong pick right now. Keen has a great amount of success with it. Sejuani, though, a little bit different. I wonder what this means for what Chovy has planned, and if Ruler wants to pull out an old favorite in the Ashe, which has a ton of synergy. The Trundle is why we're a little bit surprised to see the Sejuani blind, because it's one of the better picks into it.
Yeah.
And now they can go Scion here as well, because there's no Trundle on the other side. So KT, I think, pretty masterful set of picks here in this first rotation.
Yeah, I mean, the Sejuani by herself is strong, and it's a Canyon pick, but just picking a blind with Trundle still available in this meta, you can get caught out by that for sure. We'll see if that actually happens. That's another question.
Remember
they were
earlier
thinking about the Victor, but instead it's just Corki.
Remember earlier I said Corki was the next one on the tier list, except when it's Chovy, he puts it a little bit higher.
Yeah. Speaking of which.
Yeah, that ended up coming true here. Although he normally does put the Victor still higher, but in this draft, wants a little bit of extra safety. Corki's good into Trundle because he can kind of deal with the pillar with his Valkyrie pretty well, and a little bit less vulnerable than Victor. If Victor gets pillared in a weird moment, he just has to flash.
Yeah.
Corki might, depending on when the pillar is placed, but it's a lot safer just in general. The Senna with a scaling composition like what KT have already put together here is pretty scary. I think that's a pretty reasonable ban here for GENG. Alistair has been banned in this spot for all time, so
it's really burned into our monitors.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, and everybody knows why. It's just the way it is.
Braum is an interesting one here, because I thought, even though they did go for the Sejuani jungle, there was still a potential Lucian angle here into KT Rolster's comp.
Yeah. Well, it's stronger on blue side because you can pick it together, I guess. So if you only pick Lucian or if you only pick Braum, then it's chance of getting the pick stolen away.
That is true. The Ashe, I feel like, is still viable here for GENG. But they want a little bit more magic damage, and they're going to lock in this Kai'Sa, which can circumvent the front line here of KT Rolster if played well. And now it's turned into a triple threat composition where you have follow-up for the Sejuani with the Kai'Sa, lots of burst damage and the double 80 carry, and then you have poke for the objective itself with the Jace. Jace going to be struggling to get a lot of damage done into the Scion, depending on how those fights shake out, though. As a Nico to be hovered here for Peter. It's been one of his favorites this year. I think he's gone to a lot in the past. The question is, what is he going to play with this? The Kalista is long gone since the first banning phase.
Yeah.
Nico Israel is definitely not a common pairing, but I do think it can work out well.
Kaisa Nico is pretty good, so maybe they just wanted to take it away.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking because, you know, Kaisa is known to be a bit of an answer to the Ezreal, especially in a draft like this, but taking the Nico away is interesting. But, like, Nico Ezreal is not the same kind of power level as, like, Ezreal Karma in terms of pushing, but it's still decent. And Duro's going to go for another set of engage here because Sejuani alone, I think, isn't good enough, which means that the Nico is going to be good into what you expected to be that final melee support to come through. And the only other one he could have gone for would have been Leona. The same rules apply. So I think the comp, I kind of feel pretty good about KT Rollsters here. Like, we always have to consider the nameplates when we look at these two teams. And Jovi's love for Corki for all time, even pre-rework Corki, where he was just building Ludens and doing poke boom boom damage. He's just got such strong mastery of this champion, and he's playing it more than anyone else. You know, he's playing it in these spots, and you have to trust that when he hits that 2-item spike, fireworks are common. He is just so good at this champion, and I feel like the execution burden for KT here is lower than their Game 1 draft, but it's still pretty high to play this Ezreal Sion composition. If there's anything I'll trust Peter on, though, this season, it's his Nico. He's had so many good Pop Blossoms, and I do feel like maybe he's going to be the X factor here that could bring this to 3 games. I won't predict it. I'm still feeling like it's going to be that one-sided Genji 2-0, but maybe this draft gets it done. They got Trundle into Sejuani. They got a great side lane comp. They have Sion into Jace to block that poke. They have Peter's best engaged champion. If they can't get it done with this, they weren't going to get it done.
The one issue I have is I think it's going to take a while to get online. We'll see if Genji gives them that time of day, as they didn't do that in Game 1. But here is game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Alrighty, game number 2. KT, what have you got? We know what Genji has, and I like how Dion was trying to like give the angle to Wadid to be like, take all those titles away. What do KT have? And then Wadid talked about taking the Drakes, which is valid, but also it doesn't really address the angles that maybe KT might have over Genji, because I don't really feel like there are a lot of them.
Yeah, Digon was
but
like,
we're still waiting.
LCK, remove the facts. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's necessarily our slogan, but...
Isn't it like where legends are born or something? It's a good one.
Yeah, no, it's not remove the facts.
Yeah.
For one legacy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one, too.
It's solid.
We're invading here, KT.
Canyon has Unsealed Spellbook also, which is not going to be impactful at this moment, but I just wanted to mention it. And Canyon is not going to be getting his first blue buff. Be heading over to the red buff. And that's a nice start. Good little level 1 here for the side of KT. Already getting value out of the Trundle pick. Although that's really just about his ultimate. This is the main reason we talk about this being a counter matchup. But still can be strong at level 1 in a lot of different jungle matchups, including this one. And with the Ezreal Nico there, Canyon just needs to leave instantly. And so we'll see if Cuz can get the 3 buff going here. We'll have to cross back across to his blue if he wants to do that. It will be seen on this ward on Raptors. And Canyon will be seen on this ward here as well. But Jovi has Prio. So punishing this Sejuani is going to be a little bit tricky, and in fact, I'd say probably not possible. But getting this blue buff alone is not making it even. Like, if he wants to stay around, then it's going to get a little bit tougher.
Doesn't have a smite, not going to use it because he doesn't have it. So he's just going to take the blue and go over to the Raptors and go back to being behind, but that's fine. He's playing Sejuani. He's just going to farm it out, and he's going to press his ult button sometimes.
Yeah.
The bot lane push is one thing that KT do have.
Yeah, this Nico pick working out really well into the melee Nautilus in this case. And even though Sedge is Sedge at the moment, still going to be pretty relevant for some skirmishes coming up here relatively soon. But I like how KT have played this early game. Bottom side Prio, working a treat for them. Canyon makes the exact right decision. And also seeing the Trundle on the Raptors makes him know, like, yeah, I was pretty sure there's no way he could get back in time. Chovy has prio, but he also was able to see all of that, make the right decision. And now wants to potentially go for that top scuttle, as we're having early teleports here in mid. And it's just going to be a scuttle trade.
Yeah.
Peter, I was just going to say, Peter is, again, he's really good on this pick. This is why I think we keep zooming in on this, because they have that bottom side prio. And it's not just his R buttons that he's good at, but his laning has been pretty strong as well.
It's a very dominant pick. Duro knew what he was getting himself into. It was just, you know, we need some more engage. I'm just going to pick Nautilus. It's fine.
Because otherwise, how do you catch Ezreal with just Sejuani? Like, it's never going to happen. You know, maybe a Shock Blast hits him and you just blow him up, but with a Scion on the other side, you're never going to Glacial Prison the Ezreal.
You are going to Valkyrie into Rise as Chovy. Very aggressive trading pattern. I feel like most Corkies, you know, they'll harass with autos and they'll use their Gatling gun, you know, but Chovy, he knows when Rise is very weak. And I think his understanding of every champion is what helps him so much. And he's like, well, there's no wave here. You're not going to be bouncing stuff off of me, so I'm just going to attack you, and there's not really much you can do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just very nice to see. So we do have Ruler up on the top side. This does not follow the WOD order of objectives, by the way.
No, it does not. However, if Keen can get prio here and Peter goes top side, then they could try for that 5-minute dragon, especially the prio that Chovy has. Or he pushes BDD out of the lane, went for the aggressive Valkyrie, and they both had just traded teleport. So if he ends up getting a nice trade, then feels amazing, right, as the Corki in this scenario. Should the Jace laning there on bottom side. But it's not going to work out that way, as Peter does decide to go bottom to rejoin Duck Dom. So there's not going to be enough dragon prio here. It was a Chemtech dragon, so that might have factored into Genji's decision a little bit. Really love how Cuz is pathing right now, though. He's able to suss out where Canyon is, and will be able to defend his top laner, as well as take this Grump. Yeah, I did see this tweet earlier at me about the Grub Group and the Dragon Division.
The Baron Bunch and the Otacon Assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good tweet. Thank you for that one.
Just got G-Sun putting up tweets during the downtime, you know. A little bit of a Genji and wait it out.
At the moment.
Yeah.
I do see a cull in a Kai'Sa's inventory, you know, and Kai'Sa can be a bit of a struggle. Sure, based on what Wadid was talking about yesterday, he's probably not super happy with the Kai'Sa lock. And it was a bit strange, the way it all eventuated. Remember in Game 1, they banned the Kai'Sa and the Ezreal?
What are we doing here? We're all just hanging out in the alcove.
Yeah, he's just alcoving. He's alcove gaming. Weren't you one of the people to coin that term?
I think that was Atlas.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you were like working with him.
I was there.
You were popularizing it with him. Like you were.
I did work around that time.
Yeah, you were in the alcove gaming campaign.
Thank you for giving me credit.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I was involved.
Yeah. So I thought it was just pretty clear what he was doing up there.
Yeah.
Perfect was trying to interact with him because he's not as familiar with alcove gaming and how you just don't mess with people who are alcove
Yeah, he's
gaming.
a newer player, so you know.
Yeah.
He's not a rookie, though.
No.
We've
been
stripped
there.
him of that title.
Yeah, been there, done that. Nor is Duro. Even
You
though
don't think
he is.
so? He's definitely still called a rookie.
Well, I mean, we call him a rookie, but it's not his
He's
debut
not a rookie.
season.
Yeah. But there are some out there that still call him a rookie.
Some who call him a rook.
No, I don't think they
You
call
think
him a rookie.
Chovy doesn't count minions? Chovy.
Chovy!
You think Chovy is going to be like, well, that seems pretty normal?
The one lane you go to is Chovy's lane. No.
Look at him talking, man. He's like telling Kenny, he's like, man, they thought they could fool me. I know exactly how many minions I miss every single game.
Yeah.
It's in the single digits. There are no bonus minions, Canyon. Well, that was a little chunk of damage on the ruler,
that wasn't very nice.
I don't think that they can do anything up here because their jungler is behind the curve on the rotation, and that's going to be a cleared ward.
Yeah, just clearing the ward, just backing away.
Cuz does have Subjugate available, and I don't think they want to force this fight, but the timing window there is not good enough for Canyon to punish, as you say. And it's a group for grubs here for KT this time.
We do see GENG, they want to fight over this. They don't want to give all 3 away. I almost said all 6. What year am I living in? Trying to come in here. Some hook onto Duckdoll, but now the turn immediately on the Duro, who's going to flash away. But now we got Cuz in a bit of trouble. Ingo's Ruler going to take him down. First Blood did go over to KT, but now fight here front to back is looking good for GENG. Bit of a stun goes down on a Canyon, but he's super tanky. Perfect has to get out. There's now the Realm Warp. We see BDD thinking about getting out here, but follow-up. Duckdom going to go away. Continues to kite as Canyon does get the Gromp, but he is going to go down. And now we have the Root going in on Akeen. One more auto gets it done, and Duckdom picks up a double. A big fight here for KT.
Huge win for KT, and they end up getting so much out of this, despite the fact that it looked good for GENG in the initial outset. And Perfect, I was starting to get frustrated with him in that one because he was running away to live, but I was like, man, you're Scion. Go back in there and die and go zombie because he was in melee range, but he still survived, came in to do that final Q, which really led to that first pick, and Duckdom picking up the kills. As the fight is super broken up and messy here, Chovy trying to layer some damage through Duckdom flashes and survives the initial engage here. Duro's the first to fall, but Cuz goes insanely low despite the Subjugate is still going to go down. But Duckdom, they're never able to fully lock him down. He takes a ton of damage in a moment, but just the fact that Perfect escapes here was the part I was talking about where I'm like, oh man, Zombie Scion would have maybe helped you escape, but there's just not enough damage here for GENG, and they don't have vision through this choke point. And then Duckdom, with this knock up here, gets the empowered W, or the W to empower the Q and the auto. Keen gets taken out here at the very end, and the Ruler has to flash, so you even get a flash on the Kaisa out of that. Did have to cleanse as well moments before, so it's about as good as it could have gone there for KT, honestly. And you know, looking back at the fight a second time, I think Perfect was definitely well within his rights to want to flash away there, survive, and then come back in. Peter layering a lot of damage in himself, too. GENG, once again, find themselves behind in the early game.
Yeah, it's not their first time, as you mentioned. It is going to be their first time to be this far behind, I feel, in this series. They still do have, you know, triple threat and double 80 carry, so there's a good amount of scaling. But now you've got this Ezreal who's 2-0, who is going to be hitting that spike very quickly. The Ryze didn't get any kills, but BDD able to scale up pretty freely is going to be feeling great. Even Perfect, like if you're a Scion that's able to stabilize and never really get behind, like we've seen Scions take over games in this meta as well. Now, Cannon's on a ward, and the sneaky Trundle in the brush is going to help with this one, but it's still going to be a kill. Going 1-for-1 here. Chovy trying to get away from that Trundle, just trying to clear the wave, actually. As Peter comes in, and it's a double over to Cuz.
All right, the value of the Trundle into the Sejuani, we are already significantly starting to see the hurt. We are starting to see the value. As at least Canyon has teleport now. So he's actually going to TP over here. And they're going to be able to start up this dragon. BDD just TP'd back to mid, but could come over here if they want to fight for this. There's more GENG than there is KT in this area, as Ruler had prio bottom side. BDD want to Realm Warp for this? Oh, this is messy.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. Peter is very caught here. He is going to get it off, but immediately dies. BDD and Cuz. The Drake does go to Cuz, and now Canyon's going to go down. And so Peter just keeps them around, has to pay with his life.
They're listening to Wadid. And
listening to Wadid.
It's Cuz, you know, he's being the Drake Slayer, the Dragon Slayer he's known to be. He says, I'm going to come in. BDD, you best Realm Warp me in here. All right, so it all starts off moments ago here with Canyon looking for the Hex Flash engage when he was on a ward. Kind of disastrous. Chovy trades one back, but Cuz is able to get the double here. Does finally get that extra chomp slow and take Chovy out with some help from Peter. And then on the Dragon.
이거 깔끔하게 죽음을 받아들이고 풀이라도 아낄걸.
That was not as clean as he wanted it to be.
He wanted to save his flash, yeah.
This moment here, Peter is able to get the ult off, and that's what matters most in this moment. Also, of course, Cuz secures Smite here, and then that's just the objective. Like, that's just the win. They get a kill on top of it. This Trundle has a Triforce, is already, you know, sitting on, obviously, magical footwear, zooming around the map here, looking for big plays, and has been impactful already. But when you have this Triforce versus what the Sejuani is sitting on. You're already winning into the Sejuani, but the Sejuani can't really match your rotations and your potential ganks now anymore. You're just going to outpace her. And it's really hard for Canyon to play the game. Look at how far behind he's fallen on farm already. We had the really cool level 1 play, but Cuz has just held on to that lead and snowballed it. And I feel like Canyon's been playing a little bit disrespectfully at times in this one. I mean, I think the unsealed spellbook is cool and all. And the teleport to the dragon was a nice sneak attempt, but they get caught out again. And now Duro, he's going to need some help if he's going to survive this.
They do have the whole team coming over here, outside of Keen, of course, who TP'd top. So nice call off here from KT. Could have certainly gone bad if they actually dove that one. Perfect beginning to try to proxy. And, you know, he's Sion. He should be able to do this a little bit. Not going to overcommit, though. A nice amount of pressure. But yeah, it does feel like KT, this is, if they're going to win a game against GENG, it's going to be this one. I mean, you're Ezreal super fed. Everything's going well in this early game. Even got a kill onto Chovy's Corki. You were able to slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, Flash is gone for Chovy. And Canyon is nearby here. Perfect might get baited.
He's desperate for anything. Like, if he gets a kill, he's right back in this game. But currently, down 2 levels,
yeah,
you know, he's kind of just not really able to do anything.
Yeah, I just don't think KT are that, you know, that's weak-minded. Like, they're not going to fall for this. Like, Keen walking into the Sion trade, he's not going to be like, oh, I better go in on this. And now you can see that Chovy is, you know, he's still up. Does have that kill up in gold over the Ryze, but doesn't have control of the side like he would like to at this point in time. Ryze already has the Rod of Ages, and it's going to be very difficult to kill with this build. Seraphs to come in second means that he's just super tanky and also has a shield. Even with the nerfs to Roa, it's very strong, very powerful build, especially with the lead that KT have right now. And you can make those macro plays. Hextech Soul again, by the way, which is kind of insane. And
getting a lot nowadays. We had a couple yesterday. 2 or 3, actually.
Grouping for Herald now. GENG with Chovy having teleport advantage. I think KT should be very slow with how they play this.
Yeah, looks like they want to do something here on the right, but Duro's in a lot of trouble. I mean, he's just dead. He gets pillared. He's going to flash away still, but he still dies. As now he gets engaged on in. It's only going to hit the Sejuani, though, but the damage goes in, and Peter does go down. Chovy's still doing a lot of damage here on the left side, but Canyon extremely low. As Realm Warp now, and Ruler doesn't have anywhere to go as he goes in to try to kill BDD, and it doesn't quite work out. Chovy also looks like he's going to go down. KT are taking this fight in a big way. As GENG, they did not respect him on the Grubs. They did not respect him on the Rift Heralds, and they will pay the price as KT take a huge fight again.
Surely KT win this game from here, Valdez. There's no way they're going to let this one go. Playing from ahead, confidently into this fight. And Duro is the one who's pillared to start things off. Looks like maybe for a second he's gotten out, but he's blown up, and then the follow-up is just not there for GENG. Really nice ult from Canyon, all things considered, to try to turn that one around. But BD super confident on the Realm Warp chase. Rua looks for the denial, but ends up going down himself. So it starts off with Duro getting pillared, right? Look at how the follow-up isn't perfect. He denies anyone from following up as everyone's focusing on the Nautilus, so there's no risk in this. Now, Peter does end up getting taken out here. The ult is really nice from Canyon on the turn, but so much damage is done. BDD flashes, gets the root onto Canyon. Ruler is trying to take him out here, but Cuz is doing so much damage. BDD does take the Realm Warp, get the kill there. Duckdown plays respectfully here, barriers, and Chovy gets taken out by Perfect there in the end. And then Keen as well here. Yep. Pillared again. And Cuz is just, like, when you get ahead on Trundle, everyone who's played Trundle, even in the top lane, knows that when you're really winning and when you're really, really far ahead, you just kind of run at people and throw pillars up. And whoever you interact with just gets clubbed to death over and over and over again, and you just take over the game.
It's very fun.
You're already playing into a Sejuani, so you get to be even stronger with your lead when you come to team fights.
Yeah, it's very oppressive, and I think especially in this matchup, like, I remember there was a meta where Trundle wasn't being played, but Sejuani was very, she was being played like almost every game. We didn't have Fearless, and Chronicler was actually like, we should be seeing more Trundle. And I was like, no, because Trundle wasn't very good at the time, and even now, it doesn't feel like Trundle is amazing, but especially in this matchup and in the matchup against Xin Zhao, he is very strong, especially from ahead. And it just felt like Kenny was like, you know what, I don't care about all that. Like, I'm just gonna win anyway. And any team can beat any other team in the LCK.
Yeah, but I mean, I really think when we talked about drafts, I liked KT's draft a lot, right? They had all the tools, but I was like, they're going to have to play super well. This GENG, the draft is hard. It's, in my opinion, still the better draft, but it's hard. But they've made all these miracles happen. Like, they played the draft incredibly well. These fights were so close. They were so clutch from KT. And they caught GENG off guard, I think, with how well they've been playing. They've been punishing Duro, which we knew was a possibility, playing this Nautilus into the Nico, and the lack of engage made it pretty necessary, I think, to draft the Nautilus, but this means you had a draft issue earlier on. As a Sejuani into the Trundle, was blind, of course, was also surprising to us, but I didn't know the game was going to get this opened up this early. GENG are still playing a good macro game, even though it's 10 kills to 4 here. They are
just
only
missed a cannon.
Yeah.
He's tilted.
they,
he's not enjoying this very much.
They are still, you know, only 3,000 gold down. It's significant. Again, and GENG isn't normally this far down, but I feel like they're making the right moves. Chovy's able to get half of this turret and force a teleport out of Perfect.
Yeah.
They should be able to defend this inner, so, I mean, it's not over till it's over.
It's a good point because GENG has come back in games like this, and it really often comes from teams making mistakes from ahead, and GENG will punish you. It doesn't matter if they're very far up behind or just a little bit behind or whatever. You have to be extremely clean if you're KT. This game is not over, as you mentioned. As now, gonna hop forward. Okay.
That was weird, the way that came out, but yeah, it was a pillar.
Huh, okay.
I thought Keen just hiccuped for a second.
He is Ezreal, but there is a Nautilus here as well, as waiting for it. The sun comes in with the permafrost, and Duro gets his revenge.
I mean, these are the kind of moments you're talking about. The punish is there. Rotation up from Perfect for just a moment means, guess what? He's not defending this turret, and Chovy's going to take that. The Scion is not going to be able to prevent this. Even with just one grub, this turret is just gone. Chovy should be able to get out of here, no problem.
Yeah.
Good Valkyrie there. Easy peasy, and it's like, okay, suddenly a kill here, suddenly a turret there. 3,000 gold lead, that's what I was saying a second ago. Oh, it's 1,200 now.
Yeah.
This is the GENG angle, you know? Any mistake is punishable. And
like
all the lead is in the Trundle.
Yeah, I do like how KT were at least looking for angles, you know? Because there are some teams, they get ahead against GENG and they're like, oh crap, okay, we can't mess this up. We can't do anything crazy. But you really need to keep your foot on the gas pedal. And outside of making mistakes, you got to continue making proactive plays that get you in the lead. So they look for that play onto Keen.
Canyon does have ult. They aren't sure.
You never know.
찍었어.
I mean, Duro's just like, got him.
진짜.
So you got
Mad, he's got the assist, yeah.
제발.
777 gold to a Nautilus.
Ruler is actually angry because this is the second time that Duro got a kill. And it's a shutdown. It was 777 gold. And, you know, it's actually a reason to get angry about because Kai'Sa needs these items. Like, she needs at least 3. You'd like 4. And 777 gold is going to be really big for getting that third item.
Yeah, and if a Kai'Sa got it, would have been jackpot. But supports don't play slots.
They're not into gambling. It's,
No.
It's not a thing that supports.
That's why he didn't.
They're pretty base like
that. He didn't
that.
gamble. He went for the kill secure. He was like, I'm not taking a chance on this. I'm sorry, really.
Yeah.
But it was his ult and his play that caught Duckdom in the first place. And
Yeah, kill is still good, but
yeah,
could have been even better.
It's significant. You know, getting that allows the play at bottom side where Chovy gets the turret.
Yeah. I think what you said before, though, about all this gold being on the Trundle is really big.
It's scary, you know? It's all your eggs in one troll with a club basket. It doesn't feel very safe.
He's going to be unkillable.
He's unkillable.
But he's Trundle.
He runs at people, he clubs them to death, like I said earlier. But that works until about like 25 minutes plus, and then you just kind of get kited, and you know Trundle can't carry the game by himself.
So the Rift Herald is here. Duro is going to go in for the engage. Ult's actually on it because they're throwing everything into this Trundle that is so tanky. The Nico not going to hit anyone. As GENG desperate for this Drake. They have to deny the soul right here, right now, as they do get the kill on the Scion, but Chovy is so low as he tries to get the kill on a BDD. It's not going to happen. Ruler is going man mode, and it is his steal from Ducktomp to get that one. As they do take it down, Cuz not able to get the smite. And that might be where this game goes awry for KT. As GENG, they pick up the fight. Ruler with the triple in this one.
Frankly, it's kind of a disastrous fight for KT. I mean, Peter's ult missing was the moment for me where I was like, uh-oh, here we go. I think this is the moment. Because Peter has an ult that hits absolutely nothing when everyone on GENG is so close to the ult. I mean, look at the setup here for KT. It's brilliant. And it's the Trundle who gets hit. It's the Trundle who's engaged on, knocked up. Root's on the Sejuani, and then KT from here just completely whiffed everything. Like, Peter could have gone in, looked for, I mean, he had flash. He could have ulted the whole team, but he chokes the moment. BDD ends up winning the fight against Chovy on the side, but that alone isn't enough here, as Ducktomp has to carry after the Dragon gets stolen here. He needs to be the one who can actually clean up this fight, but misses a few abilities here. Duro goes down first, and then Ruler ends up winning out as he just hides behind Canyon. That's the end of the Ezreal. Not to mention, of course, the reason why Ducktomp went in like that was because he knew that the Jace was on the other side. There was no good angle. There was no escape. As not again.
Uh-oh.
Canyon paused because Ruler was taking his Raptor camp. And he was like,
yeah, that's not allowed.
Ruler's arguing with him currently about the fact that Duro did steal his kill earlier, so he needs to get the Raptor gold.
So we got a Peter Parker issue.
Oh my God, Valdez. Well, that would explain the complete whiff of the Flash Pop Blossom where he didn't in fact flash. And
I would not like to chrono break back to that fight. That is one of the things that I would not like to do tonight.
Well, we'll see what his claim is, because
we've had many claims here at the LCK.
Well, that's the thing is, like, if his keyboard, if like the F key on his keyboard wasn't working, it's really hard to prove that. You know what I mean? Just for example, I'm not saying that's what he's claiming. Like, it
could be like a mouse issue.
His monitor might have turned off in the fight. Like, we don't know, but like everything is recorded and we do have all the information, all the facts, so we'll get to the bottom of it. But like you said, if there was an issue, like where his keyboard, you know, did the Windows like unplugged for a second, and that's why he didn't flash, and like we can prove that, and we see it in the recording, and we have to chrono break, man, the whole like Force of Destiny will be changed forever when they redo the fight.
Chovy hasn't beat me 1v1.
Facts. I mean, I guess he's not wrong. He hasn't beat me 1v1 yet either, Valdez.
Yeah, same.
Wait. I'm new, but is this Valorant? Oh, very close. Very close. Try again. I don't want to tell him the answer.
Whoa. You ever just create a new
fan sign meta
out of another fan sign?
It's a true shot barrage sign.
All right. Resolved.
So I guess we don't know what the claim was, but either way.
It was just a Peter Parker pause.
With great pauses come great responsibility.
Yeah. He knew that. So he didn't do it lightly. But it was resolved. So the Peter Parker pause is now Peter Parker unpaused.
Yeah, it's not in the rulebook that if your spider senses aren't tingling, you get to pause. We do have a potential Otacon take here, as Ducktomp's going to clear the mid wave and try to rush over. Keen does have TP, but he's actually just going to get the free rotation over, which should be able to clear the wave and join. As if KT start this first, I'm not sold.
No, if they start this first. Oh, Ducktomp, please.
He's fine. Didn't even need to flash.
Not like this, okay? This has the potential to be a very good game.
Yeah, no,
Please don't just get hooked by Nautilus as Ezreal.
Otacon's trying to clear vision in that tri-brush, but Canyon already did, so don't worry about it, Otacon. Just go back to your pit and chill. We'll call you when it's time. I mean, Baron has also spawned here. 2 big objectives on the top side of the map. KT are sitting on a 2.5 item Ezreal. Ariza doesn't have death cap. Trying to rush this down, I just don't think is reasonable, because Peter doesn't have flash. He has his dash cannon, of course, but without flash, I think trying to turn is just super risky.
Somebody's got to check this brush. It will be perfect.
Good vision control. They can try to force GENG to take a bad fight through this vision control, but GENG, because Keen didn't have to teleport, is just putting him in the side lane, letting Ruler clear. They're like, yeah, you guys can't do this fast enough, so if you try, we'll TP in. Ruler going to rotate over, and KT are practically flipping the game on this one. Let's see, TP.
It's getting pretty close. I mean, Canyon trying to get in, gonna throw an ult, and now the knockup comes in on a Canyon. He's just dead. They don't have a jungler, although Perfect is getting blown to smithereens as well. But yeah, the Otacon goes over to KT, and KT will accept that 100% of the time.
Mission accomplished. That was very, very scary, though. But they had the choke point controlled. They were able to get the teleport out of Keen, and it was going to take some time. And with the Trundle and Subjugate, if you just shot call correctly, target select the Sejuani after being subjugated and blow her up, as long as you don't put the Otacon in smite range before that happens, you can kind of checkmate these, especially because Keen has to teleport into a safe angle here. He's not able to offer damage quickly enough, and they just turn on the Canyon, ult him, and delete him. And Ruler looks for the steal on the edge. They kill Perfect here as he just holds the line, preventing these to evolve. Even the pillar comes out to allow them to run warp away. And it's a clean heist here from KT. Again, fairly risky. I think we'll all agree, but they do end up succeeding in the end. 3 items now for the Rise. Death Cap is ready, but...
Okay.
3-item Rise might get jumped on.
Yeah, will the follow-up coming on time is really the only question. BDD does have Flash. As now we get another engage here on a Perfect. We got a Blast Cone away as Canyon in a lot of trouble again. He's going to go down. Keen here as well with him. And they go way too deep this time around. Still, the Ruler and Chovy are safe. We do have Perfect going in, trying to create space, but he has to flash away. As in goes Ruler into the back line. There's no stopping this guy. He goes golden, but now he's got to flash away. And while a pillar will stop him, I guess. As BDD gets back here with his CP. And now GENG are on the run. Realm Warp coming in. Looks like they will go for it. No gate will be taken by Chovy as they take down Chovy, and they will get this Baron.
This Sejuani pick just is not working for Canyon in this game. 0, 5, and 10. He's 10 out of 11 of their kills, but he has been caught and punished in some of KT's biggest moments. First they get Otacon, then they get Canyon again, and they get the Baron. As it looked for a moment like maybe GENG could turn this fight around. Because remember, it starts off with Canyon catching, air quotes, BDD, but BDD just kind of walks it off here as the rest of the team rotates up. Canyon loses a third of his health bar and flashes in and instantly dies. This keeps happening because his resistances keep getting deleted. And then Cuz goes in here on the front line and ends up taking a ton of damage. And this play from Ruler here, as Perfect goes incredibly low, is super bold, deletes him, but now he's on the wrong side of the fight. Tries to go golden here so that Chovy can help him clean up, but it's the zombie Scion that peels and gives them enough space. And unfortunately for GENG, there is no escape when Realm Warp is on the cards here. And maybe Duro could get out with a nice little dredge line, but Chovy will not be so lucky. And surely KT win from here, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have X6 Soul, they have Baron. They're going to get a ton of standing golds here on the map. Not to mention that they are already ahead. So you got to like their chances. A little engage comes in here from Canyon, wants to get something going because just presses his R, or he didn't even, finally goes for it. Huge engage here from Peter, and now Ruler is just going to get caught up in this one. Here comes Perfect into that back line and just eliminates Keen. Even gets the kill on the Ruler, and it's only Chovy left standing. KT can, in fact, win these.
They can, in fact,
send it to game 3.
Win these. They can, in fact, bring us to the distance here today. And maybe the prophecy was true, Valdez. Maybe this is the only team that can stop GENG's win streaks. Their perfect season still on the line. KT are going to have to win one more game, and maybe Peter didn't hit his Pop Blossom on the Dragon fight. Maybe he completely whiffed that one, but he didn't whiff the one there at the end that finishes the game. But it's a Trundle POG if we were to vote on this one, man. Cuz running the early game, playing through that bottom side prio, destroying the Sejuani at every turn as Canyon plays a bold game of Sejuani, but gets stopped in some very, very important moments. The Otacon fight, the attempted catch on BDD, 2 critical moments that toss the game away for GENG. And it's a 6-gamer, Valdez. How much damage here for Duckdom in this one? He actually tops the charts, 25.4K. There were some very scary moments for him, well, otherwise played pretty well.
KT proved they can do it against anyone, as we knew, but they prove it once again. I think it took a little proof. We didn't believe that GENG would even drop a game here, but now in this best of 3, looks like they have given themselves another shot. But now it's the hardest part. They got to go to red side, and they got to win a second game against GENG, who are This time going to take them a little bit more seriously, we would hope, as it's 1-1, game on our hands, series on our hands. Let's go to a break.
그냥 걸릴 수도 있어.
완전 빡세게는 안 끌리니까 이즈가 타워 가면 맞아.
그냥 걸리게 할 거야. 나 왼쪽에 와드 하나 집어넣어주면 좋아.
포킹하면 돼 포킹. 이번 거 밀겠다 그냥. 해주 노플.
버프 좋아했어. 나 이거 버프 없어.
2호초 내가 믿어 갈게. 내가 바텀 궁으로 올게 얘들아. 야야야 걸렸어. 코르키보다. 나 좋아 제이스. 볼게.
봐줄래. 나 가자.
볼게. 카이사 노플. 야 궁 볼게. 끝내자. 미안하다. 너무 잘했다. 나이스. 됐어. 미니언 내거 간다.
내 거야. 진짜 내 거야. 나 털고 한 번도 안
나이스.
잡을 수 있나?
이길까?
Breath all the time, and trying to be really Ty's like inner conscience.
Yeah.
When Ty like gets mad at you and they have to become Skull Greymon. Agumon's life wasn't easy. BDD's life wasn't easy either.
I think it's easy to be a Digimon in general.
Yeah. All right, Valdez. Let's see what happens.
Lock in.
Third and final draft. Vi is the fixture on
At least
side.
we can't blind Sejuani this time.
No.
So I feel like GENG already have an advantage.
I think that when you consider how important bot prio has been throughout the last few games here at the LCK, like this entire week, I think that's why Bull was played earlier today, to get that prio, to get those leads, to get those advantages, to look for the kind of Drake theme that Wadid keeps mentioning and bringing up, but Orianna even targeted here against BDD. Can't get his Syndra though. I don't think he's going to play Syndra, although he did have a really cool game on
He
it.
might.
But anyway, my point is...
BDD's fourth symphony.
The Kalista is gone. There hasn't really been any other targeting here of the bottom lane just yet. The Varus is quite strong in this situation. Even the Draven could be relevant here in this draft. So many mid laners are taken away here. Talia, Orianna,
Pantheon.
Azir. This time Chovy will go back to the other tier list. Corki's already gone. Victor, first pick here. Perfect is going straight into Yorick. Wants to have side lane control. Cuz has had some phenomenal games on the Wukong. But we don't know what the other picks are going to be just yet. And Yorick and Wukong can work decently well together, but I feel like the Victor is a lot more well-rounded, let's say, in a draft like this.
Interesting that Pantheon just doesn't get a look at all after being banned first from the blue side by KT 2 games in a row. And
Canyon is the guy that gets it done on Skarner.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Skarner's win rate overall pretty low, but Canyon has looked really strong on this pick, especially into Xinjiao, but that is going to be a Wukong he's playing into this time around. I feel like picks like Ashe also super strong in a draft like this. Oh, and they're going to push the Alistar up. I love this.
No Alistar B4 ban?
No, not this time. Silas will come in as a response, though, being able to steal both the Impale, but more importantly, the Unbreakable Will. Very powerful, which is why, you know, part of the reason why you never see Alistar in this first part of the draft, even though he's incredibly strong, and then he gets banned in the second part every time because you can just be, air quotes, counterpicked by the Sylas. Makes the Sylas so powerful in these brawly team fights.
Yeah. I mean, Sylas, if he can spend more time in melee range, just rotating his abilities, he will pop off, even from behind. So that's why that Unbreakable Will is so strong on him. It's not like a CC ultimate, but it just makes him a real terror. As he never gets low, he can always sustain his health. We're going to see Jackson Braum banned away.
I don't think Lucian is the answer here in this draft. A little bit surprised to see the Braum. Perhaps they're worried about some sort of Braum lane like Ash Braum. That's going to be a high prio into this Alistar. And Braum can be decent into Alistar in general, especially in those really few levels. But I think that for Duck Dom, you really need something that does big crit damage to be able to get through the Alistar and the Skarner in these team fights. Like, Duck Dom is going to need consistent damage because Yorick doesn't have it. Sylas doesn't necessarily have the damage to get through those tanks. You know, he's going to be great if he can lock down the AD carry or this Victor, but Lulu gets banned. I actually like that a lot because Lulu, Zeri here, and even Lulu Jinx feel fantastic for this draft. On hit Varus, though, should be able to get it done.
Varus was still up, and
it's great in lane.
It's great in lane. I feel like it's the best choice here. Now you're left in an awkward spot as Ruler, where do you want to play something that is probably not going to be great in the lane? Or do you want to, you know, like an MF is what I'm, or like a Zeri is what I'm talking about here. Or do you want to go for something like an MF who, I don't know if that's enough damage later on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of feel like Ashe still works here for Ruler. The Renekton pick just going to be a bully in the lane. He is opting instead, though, for struggling through the lane and being high impact later on, as I think a lot of people associate Pays with GENG's Zeri wins and their dominance, but before him, there was a man named Ruler who played Zeri on release and popped off in so many big games and big best of fives. But they pivot again over to the Lucian Alistar lane with the blind Alistar, and Poppy.
Oh, the Poppy game 3 angle. Oh no. GENG.
This is a
what have you done?
Really scary situation here for GENG. I do think that if timed correctly and played well, Canyon can catch the engage on the Poppy super well.
Play the Poppy.
This is really powerful for skirmishes.
Okay. Yeah.
Like imagine this scenario where BDD steals an Alistar ultimate, goes into the back line and tries to get on top of Victor or Lucian, and he gets so much work done because he has that Alistar ult rolling, and he gets low, and then he gets bailed out, and the kill comes through, and then he and Duck Dom and Cuz just rip through the rest of everybody else. I think when you consider that, plus the power in the lane, having the range support into the Alistar, it feels really good. I like the Poppy into Skarner, but I think if you play the Skarner perfectly, you can kind of outplay some of those Poppy engage attempts. And you can also, you know, if you play it super well, deal with the Wukong and those types of impale turns when the engage comes out fast. So I think this is a little bit more well-rounded. Very strong for that bottom lane prio, which I don't think GENG are going to be able to hold on to very easily. Lane swap's going to be big. Chovy on Victor, the man doesn't lose. Okay, we've seen it so many times. We saw it back early on in the season, you know, with Gumayusi playing the Caitlyn. The Victor gets the last laugh. GENG wins that series. And it's been so many games of Victor since then. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even have the stats in front of me. I wouldn't be surprised if he's undefeated on the pick. But I look at this comp, and I look at what KT has put together, and once again, I have to lean KT. I feel like they had great counter picks here on red side.
Yeah, I think as long as they play it well, it's not the easiest comp to pull off, but if they do it, I think they've got it potentially here. For game number 3, we are ready. Let's hop onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
The fans going crazy before this game number 3. We saw a couple of signs before we went into this game, both referencing KT stopping GENG's streak. One of them was a GENG fan saying, we're going to get revenge for you stopping our streak last year. Another one was, yeah, KT are the streak stoppers here in summer, the summer of KT on the roller coaster. What's going on here, GENG? Little engage with the Silas level 1. And now the handshake. Flash comes in. Keen's just dead. His first blood over to Cuz right at 1 minute into the game.
I mean, we had the exchange that happened just moments before where Duro ended up taking a bit of damage. KT's level 1 is insane, and you have to respect that, because if you don't, and Silas starts stacking up that passive, you're going to have a horrible time. Duckdom and Cuz lurking here. I'm looking for a deeper invade. And, you know, you see already Ruler and Duro are looking for the better level 1 here, but they're going to find out very quickly that those the bot duo is not in the bottom lane, and Cuz now going to use this prior here, this control, to once again try to take Canyon's jungle down.
Yep.
And he can smite fight this.
Yeah. And
level 2.
I don't know, it's gonna leash, and I feel like Cuz rather could have maybe tried to go for the smite fight, but instead he's just like, you can't fight me. I'm level 2 against level 1, so I'll just let it leash and then I'll smite it.
Yeah.
So it's not a flip.
And this is an Alistar lane here at level 1 into the Varus. Unfortunately, Duckdom's going to miss. But things aren't going to just get better here when Ruler is like, well, I was here first in the lane. They don't care. They care a little bit. Duckdom gets
a small amount of carriage.
Yeah, he gets level 2 first anyways. BDD, risky play.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage here.
Trying to pull a Zeka, but that's Chovy. He is going to shut this one down. We did see Faker force the flash earlier yesterday.
Yeah, I think that was at level 3 as well.
Yeah.
Not sure. BDD down very low, and now Cuz is going to try to come over here and stop this, but Kenyon can easily just smite it if he needs to. Doesn't even need to. Just rushes it down. Still going to secure his red buff and go for the 3 buff start.
If BDD didn't end up messing up that trade and Chovy wasn't able to play that so perfectly, I think that Canyon is not going to be able to get away with that. And, you know, we'll see potentially a collapse there. They didn't have vision 100% of exactly where he was. I don't believe that ward came up later, if I'm not mistaken. But really important that Chovy ends up winning that exchange, if they did in fact know. And that's going to be annoying. Good dash.
You're all about the Silas dashes today.
Yeah.
Remember who dodged with Silas?
It was a clean dodge, yeah.
Yeah.
It could happen again.
It was pretty straightforward, but, you know, it was clean.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta dash those.
This one as well, you know, kind of makes sense. Teleporting in onto the stun, you kind of want to dash those.
Yeah. Otherwise, you know, you get slowed, you get stuns.
Yeah. You get stopped on your back.
That's why Chovy put it there, you know? He was just trying to be annoying. BD, he presses the dash button. Nice try, Chovy. Chovy is continuing to put the pressure on in this lane. This is how the matchup normally goes in the early levels. You get harassed by the Victor.
Little handshake. Duro says, thank you very much. I will use that as a taxi.
He's going to take a lot of damage here, but his Glacial Augment will slow the follow-up. But that's a nice hit there. This time, Duckdom doesn't miss.
We're still down a decent amount of CS in that bottom lane. Our Duckdom and Peter.
Ooh, that freeze from Chovy is also going to be super annoying here for BDD as he buys a Dark Seal.
Yeah, it's a back again.
Yeah, Chovy's lane dominance showing up in a big way. And even though they had the bottom side prio, they chose to send Duckdom home. And they're going to lose control for a moment here, so it's not just going to be straight into Dragon necessarily. They do have a lot of vision control.
Perfect. Okay, it's going to be fine. It's getting pretty close there. But big wave, Perfect was just trying to back away, and he will be okay.
So they do start this up. BD's gotten Prio back. Looking for a nice trade here at the same time. And that should be the Dragon going over. Like, Canyon is rotating over, but I just don't see him getting here in time.
Yeah, unless he steals.
They should just pull this out of the pit a little bit more, surely.
He's going to see it, and now, I mean, he can just tunnel through and look for it. Yeah, he just flashes over and smites it away. They don't respect it, as well, he's not going to be able to get out of the pit, at least. You see that the team's trying to come over and watch this happen. Flash over the wall, though, and now Cuz just gets bailed out. Looks cool. I admire the heroism, saying, get down, Mr. President, but now Duro's dead, too. And KT get 2 kills.
2 kills for KT. That feels pretty good. I'm not sure if that should have happened that way. I do think they could have just pulled the Dragon out of the pit or looked for some more vision control there. As Canyon just walks over and says, yeah, I bet they'd be on Dragon around this timing, and just drop a ward in, and okay, thank you. I'm going to go for the flash 50-50. He gets it, secures it, but then ends up dying because he doesn't have flash, doesn't have his dash anymore, and then Duro looks for the follow-up there. He ends up dying. So a ton of gold in the pockets here of KT Rolster. Fortunately for BD, the woes in this mid lane will continue, despite the fact that he has a kill advantage. Chovy is still harassing him down. He doesn't have boots, Chovy does, so it makes it even easier for Chovy in this situation. We're gonna see a swap now. Varus to the top lane. Duckdom's gonna look for the grubs second here. Dragon was an attempt at 5 minutes on the VOD flowchart, but not successful. Let's see how the grubs go.
Yep, just waiting for that at 8 minutes as we do have the steal of the Chaos Storm. Just gonna drop it down. Chovy walking very fast away from it with his brown bags that he's got.
Yeah, nice boots.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good about that
So
as we're gonna look at this again.
Kenny has his control word in here and he's just like, okay, I'm gonna drop a Q, look for the smite. Now he can't get out, right? But then they turned this into this crazy fight here where Duro's like, maybe with some heroics. I mean, Ruler's coming over. This is actually super clean because Ruler can actually fight over the pit. And then the headbutt comes through. The bailout is perfectly timed though, and they still end up getting the reset. Now Duro, unfortunately, flashless and no way to headbutt his way out of there. Still goes down, but it was a cool attempt. Like, I'm not even upset for GENG for that one. Like, credit for trying, points for creativity. But unfortunately, it maybe should have just been willing to end up letting the Dragon be your prize and walk away.
Yeah.
Let your Skarner die for Dragon.
You know who didn't look very happy after that was Chovy. I saw him on the cam. He definitely had a kind of pained look on his face.
Like Canyon has right now on the player cam. You see that sigh?
Not like Chovy looks now. Looks like he's calmed down. It was an unfortunate play. It didn't work out. It was cool. But again, it didn't go the way they had hoped.
Well, they do have grub control right now because Chovy continues to have mid-prio here.
Yeah.
And I just don't see any way of Cuz getting in there. Doesn't have flash even though his ult is up.
Just give it away. It's fine.
And it's a Renekton in the side lane, a Victor in the side lane. Definitely not the worst possible scenario. And in fact, you know, now that Smite's been expanded, it looks like they're even going to get one grub, as Perfect is getting some side lane done on this Yorick. Grabs a plate for himself. Watching this clash between Titans is amazing. Remember, you know, BDD was the old mid laner of GENG. Chovy has replaced him. And watching this battle between old and new mid laners is pretty sick, especially with how well Chovy's playing this.
Yeah,
He's giving him no quarter.
It's really cool to see. I mean, this is what I was expecting with the Faker Zeka matchup as well, where I'm like, the Victor just gets to stand there, harass you, and get grasp stacks, and you just don't have any pressure as Silas generally. Obviously, Faker went a little bit too far forward for the harass. He got punished for it, and the matchup turned out totally different from there. But as you mentioned before, this is the way it's supposed to look. BD's going to stabilize a little bit now that he has Catalyst, but he's still going to be behind pretty severely here, 21 CS. Perfect seems to be having a great time. I say that right as he gets engaged on. In goes Keen with the Dominus. Will he have to flash away? Looks like no cooldowns left here for Keen. He's taking a decent amount of damage from the Maiden, but will get the gold from it.
Yeah, I think Keen's pretty happy with how that went.
Yes.
Full Fury. We'll get some heals off the Empowered Q. And Perfect is going to have to wait here and grab this wave. In terms of where everything else sits right now, 3 assists for Duckdom is really his gold lead, and like half a wave over Ruler. But in terms of how the fights are going to look, we haven't really gotten to that big skirmishing power that KT's draft has yet, with the Silas stealing the Alistar ult, fighting on dragons, for example. But we're getting closer to that, right? The second dragon is going to spawn here in 15 seconds. And Duckdom being topside here, with the Renekton rotating over, means that both Keen and he will not be on this fight right away on spawn. Looks like Keen's probably just going to stay up here. Doesn't mean, though, that GENG can't fight for this, because it's a Yorick on the bottom side. And even though he has TP advantage, doesn't necessarily going to have a lot of combat power here. I think this Dragon may be a bit of a slow take. Not going to be necessarily either of these teams grabbing on hold early. Perfect goes up here to the top side to deal with this Renekton. And now finally we're seeing Duckdom rotate over. Does have his Bork online. BDD does not have his Rod of Ages completed. Chovy has gone double mask. as well.
Going in on this one, but Canyon is here. BBB is going to flash out of this. Canyon could have potentially tried to look for that impale, but opts to not go for it.
Would have been a lot of combat power lost had he missed it and then needed to use it on this dragon fight, potentially.
There's no guarantee, you know, even if he hits it, do they have the damage? Is Cuz there?
And speaking of Cuz being there, he is first on this dragon. They have bottom side prio against this Lucian. Ruler is going to be hard pressed to get over here. It's Perfect is once again having a rough trade, and I'm more interested on the dragon fight as Canyon is.
I want to see this setup.
Holding that impale he did not use, but keeps holding it, maybe saving it for the next fight as
Cloud
they don't
Soul.
engage. Cloud Soul kind of insane for
It kind of
KT.
slaps.
It's pretty good for GENG
For both
as well.
teams,
But like,
actually, for both teams, it's insane.
well, for the concept of the draft here for KT, it is immaculate. Again, very strong for GENG, as you mentioned.
It's like a battle of which one is stronger because they're both amazing. But yeah, I kind of agree that I think it is slightly better for KT. Well, I don't know. It's really close. It's just really good. That's
It's
all you need
just
to know.
insane, yeah.
It's just really good. It's an amazing Cloud Soul angle.
I think for both teams, there's going to be a ton of value from the move speed out of combat even, you know, just in the individual Drakes themselves for rotating around the map, setting up flanks.
Yeah.
And
For the Yorick, you consider, I
Yeah.
mean, just even the macro potential of GENG and KT, what they're showing tonight. I think it's a really good shout. Because when you think about it first, it's just, you know, the Cloud Soul ult boost that you get from that.
yeah. Rod of Age is now done here for BDD. Chovy still doesn't have that first item completed yet. But he's not going to be able to punish as the chains don't connect. Duckdom lurking here.
If those connected and Duckdom lands his own chains and Renaz right there for the handshake, I think maybe Chovy dies.
I do agree with you, but he may have been able to flash if the chains were coming through, but then he'd be down a flash for the next fight. Ultimately, Chovy knows the range there of those chains. Perhaps Duckdom could have flashed his own chains first, but Chovy's positioning here very safe. You know, he's no longer just trying to min-max the range advantage here because he knows there's other factors at play. This is no longer a 1v1. And when players are missing, you cannot be taking those chances. Keen's first item done. Heartsteel done here for Canyon. Setting up for a Herald fight here in the next 90 seconds. And this is when things are going to get really, really interesting here. As with the Yorick in control of the top side, it's going to force a faster reaction here for GENG to try to clear some vision before that Herald spawns. That's what Canyon is looking for here.
There's just no wards up here, but Perfect just pushes and backs. Looks like we're going to have our first item for Chovy. Big zoom in here.
Merc Treads.
Huge spike here for Chovy. Wow.
It's strange that he has two Haunting guys.
Yeah, it's not every day you see that.
Yeah.
I guess he's just planning on going both for the Leandries and Riftmaker. And
Yeah.
he's like, well,
I guess he just had like the right amount of gold to pick up both of those items to be gold efficient. Because the passive doesn't stack, so... Because the longer you stay in combat with Haunted guys, you get like a little bit more damage. I'm like 99% sure that is a unique effect that doesn't stack, so...
generally
Feels a little
nowadays everything's unique, you know.
Yeah. So I think... So it looks a little bit bizarre. I think that's probably what the Korean commentators were highlighting there as well, unless there's some weird tech that I don't know about, because Chovy is often ahead of the curve on these things.
He is the tech master.
Like when you see something like this
The
normally,
technician.
if I saw Yukao with this, I'd be like, Yukao, what's going on, buddy? I see Chovy with it, I'm like, hold
Like,
on, let's figure it out. Like, he's got to be smarter than all of us.
Chovy's so smart. I mean, he does just do this. What did he do in game? What game was that? I don't even know what game we're on anymore.
Oh, the Ari.
The Ari.
The Ari build, which Bloodletter's Curse or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
exactly. Yeah. That's what I was memeing, where it's like, oh, Chovy built that. Everybody's going to be building that now.
Yeah, see it in LEC next match.
Yep. I mean, in the LCK next match as well.
EDD, no vision here.
Uh-oh.
But Cuz is here. Maybe a bait.
Oh, a little turn. A little turn-areno. A rock throne. All right. Well, going in for this one. We do have the stolen Impale coming in, but locked into the wall goes Canyon, and now he's going to pull in BDD over the wall, but CC goes into him. But everybody on the side of KT is coming up. And so just trading some Impales.
All right, well, we do have the Herald being taken here on the side of KT, or at least starting. They pull off of it, though. Ruler clears the mid wave as we're doing this prio dance on Herald. It's been up for a while. It's been up so long that the Dragon has 20 seconds until it spawns here. Perfect has maintained prio here, does have TP, and TP is going to be used by BDD, buys his Merc Treads here. Looks like KT feel confident that with the control over bottom that they have, they might be able to rush this one down. But at the same time, because BDD teleported top, this should be Dragon going over to GENG as long as they can rush it down quickly enough. I mean, it is just a Skarner here.
He's on vision.
I just don't think they can stop him.
Yeah.
Ruler's going to clear this mid wave, and that's that. Now the question is what becomes more valuable. I think with the power of Cloud Soul, I kind of lean towards the Dragon, to be honest with you, Valdez, especially because what we talked about earlier with the movement speed. It's just in general so good. Hold on, Cuz maybe he's got a 50-50, maybe.
But he's alone. I don't know if he really wants to take that risk, so he's just going to let it go. So first Cloud Drake does go over to GENG. And he'll be feeling pretty happy about that.
The Herald, if it crashes in mid here, the mid turret's full health, so I just don't feel like it's as valuable right now. We'll see how it's utilized.
It's like bot. Saw that ping.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess be dropped immediately.
Chovy also could be dove after this, because the turret is not going to be safe when it's dead. Or like, he won't be safe on a turret when it's dead.
Good driving from Cuz. Doesn't run into the Otacon wall. Could have gotten a little bit awkward.
Looking for
Can he do it?
Second charge here.
Can he manage it?
I think he can.
All right, good angles so far. He's on the track. He's got the angles. Here's Canyon, and yeah, he's just gonna hop out right at the end.
Impale utilized there, and Cuz wisely gets away, bails, and forces the Impale out. Unfortunately for KT, there's nothing to fight for really to make use of the lack of Impale in this moment. So it was a nice try there, but they at least got the gold on the bottom turret. But I feel like we've really kind of solidified that Dragon greater than Herald in terms of the trade now.
Yeah, I mean, feats of strength picked up for KT, but maybe they could have gotten that turret without the Rift Heralds. The Cloud Drake, the singular one, is, I mean, it's good, but it's only 5% for now. But really, it's about the stacking, which feels really good for the side of GENG. So, yeah, I feel like it's close, but again, this is a very close game. This isn't like one of the blowouts that we have seen. It does feel like even though GENG had that moment in game 2, it looks like they were coming back. It still felt like mostly a blowout.
Look at all the vision that KT have on the bottom side of the map. It's kind of insane. Like, this is going to take a while to clear. They're not going to be able to punish, I don't think, here, but they have set up so well for a potential catch on anybody who comes into the jungle without prior knowledge that vision is there, when Cuz is nearby, or when BDD is ready to follow up. All of it's being taken away now, or a majority of it, but still, I like that KT is being super proactive around this deep warding. GENG not going to overextend, just going to play through Chovy safely here in the side lane. Leandri's done. And just know that, they know that where they don't know where champions are, they won't be. And they don't need to force vision control fast here, because there's no Dragon. They can just slowly clear it up. Canyon gets the last of majority of those wards that were in the blue side jungle. And the game slows down again for a moment.
Chovy's holding the wave just a little bit. Will he be punished for
there's
it?
More KT here than there is GENG now.
Yeah, they want to go for this. Chovy maybe in a little bit of trouble. We'll see the CC chain as Chovy very tanky in this moment. Still has his flash. He's holding on to it. But now Canyon in a lot of trouble. Gets a big impale, but now the Renata holds on top. And it's 2 kills for Duckdom. Just like that. We have the culling coming down, but Perfect also here. Even though he is Yorick, they want to go for this Otacon with the man advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be the end of the Maiden here. And Ruler is on 2 items right now. Still a relatively safe take, though. You have to imagine with no jungler, they just have to be careful.
Yeah.
And slow play this. Keen looking for the ult here, but this is...
Look at Cuz's positioning. He's just waiting until the very end to stealth on in and get the kill, and he does get it with the smite. Cuz going in, looking for that bailout, but just going to peel off as GENG back away.
Very, very calm and collected take here from KT Rolster. For a moment there, it looked like maybe there was going to be an angle for Keen. with his empowered stun. They are going to be able to trade this for a turret at least. Chovy actually going to try to make it 2 turrets, but there's going to be an answering teleport here from BDD, and I don't think Chovy will be able to get the second one. But a very clean dive there. I don't even want to call it a dive, just a very clean collapse onto Chovy in the bottom lane. And man, Canyon plays, like, I don't think Canyon could have done more here. I think there's like 0 way he actually plays this better, because he waits super long, waits for the big collapse here. Stun comes in from Chovy, buys a ton of time. He gets the 3-man here. And still just not enough. The Renata ultimate, beautiful there from Peter to guarantee the picks. And then Keen tries to look for a play here, as they know that, hey, those health bars are pretty low. Maybe if I can get in, maybe get some backline access. There's a chance here. Goes for the flash here onto BDD, looks for the big Q, but it's just not enough damage, unfortunately, for them. And the smite is going to be good. And that's 2 picks into Otacon. Traded for a turret. Mid turret was defended. They got BDD's TP, but KT are holding on to this lead.
I mean, from this position with their Varus this fed, and got a Kong's very fed, and Chovy goes down. It's not even like Chovy's fed on this Victor. There's 0 kills right now for GENG, so even though the gold is pretty close, it still does feel like KT in a pretty commanding lead here with that Otacon. We do have the Cloud Drake coming up, and GENG just going to take it. It looks like KT, they do want to try to collapse. But already a ton of damage is being done. Chovy, a big claw. He still has his flash, but doesn't matter. He is going to go down, and that's the catch on a Chovy. But the Dragon does go over to GENG. It's going to be 2 kills here as KT take it down. Unfortunately for them, there's no Baron, which would have been a huge turn for them, but they're still going to get a bunch of gold and look to push mid.
Yeah, I think they can get this mid turret off of the play. Man, Chovy caught there. Did have his flash, but there was just no backup, no peel. Whew. Keen, look at that dodge, but man, KT, 7 kills to 0 in this game. It's hard to even wrap your head around the fact that GENG have not gotten any full, but they have 3 dragons in this game. They're on soul point, and they keep sacrificing kills for big objectives. That may pay off in 5 minutes' time if they're able to secure the soul, but the lead for KT might just be too big by that point. Did a good job of defending this mid turret for now, as we will see a push instead here for BDD towards the top side of the map. But look at this angle here for Chovy. Kind of greedy here, even looking to put some damage on Perfect as he comes out, but it's the zombie wall here, the Renata ultimate, there's no way out. Canyon is able to get the secure, does not escape with his life, decides to save his flash. 3 Drakes to 1. Cloud Soul point. Game's still very winnable here for the side of GENG. We're gonna need to see some cleaner play here though. And it's a Yorick that's 0-0-3. Down on gold, but still being relatively impactful. Setting up walls like that onto the Victor is how you can kind of play this sort of as a team fighting champion. I mean, it's the follow-up from Cuz, it's the follow-up from Peter that's really the problem.
Yeah, I think Chovy just trying to zone. He obviously is going to play very confident with his flash, but the bluff was called immediately, and no reason not to, really. This is still a very close game. KT in the lead. Canyon trying to make something happen over here. I do wonder if there's going to be a point where Perfect can actually just take Keen 1v1 and put on a lot of pressure. We do see he's still pushing, he's still side laning. So we're still wondering how much value this Yorick is going to get. And Jovi's actually down a level. That Otacon certainly helping here.
Absolutely.
For KT.
It's a full level. Rod of Ages too.
Oh, well,
here for BDD.
That's probably the bigger one.
But I mean, it is the bigger one, but
BDD was behind on levels, and
yes,
now he's ahead, so
exactly.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, well, it's both,
flip.
right? Both of them coming into play here for sure. And it does make this a little bit tougher to play out for Chovy as we're seeing a collapse.
Chovy. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble here. He does not have his flash, but the chains are going to miss, so maybe not so much trouble as Perfect. Actually, the guy that's in trouble is Ruler is ganking the Yorick, just like that. Maybe try for the Baron, but would be risky.
I don't think so. Cuz was trying to back here. They might be able to get the Scuttle Crab, but I think that might be all they can get here. That turret being alive, the fact that that wave was cleared and BDD couldn't get it moments before when he decided to pivot towards topside when they failed to get mid meant they didn't get mid turret, they didn't get top turret, and also it means the gank here onto Chovy does ultimately fail, and they lose the Yorick in the side. As now Keen has full side lane control, does have his teleport online, and I think that's why you can't start Baron here. Even with all the vision control you have, you're just going to be a man down if you went for it there. And also, nothing was used for GENG in the defense of the Victor topside. Just walked back to turret and avoided the gank and was fine. If you had used several ultimates, you know, in the defense of the Victor, maybe you could see an angle there for KT, but instead we reset back to a relatively even game. I kind of like Genji's position here, though, because I feel like all they need is one Baron or this Cloud Soul, and they're going to be unstoppable in this game. It's just so valuable. The lead is so small in gold here that I just prefer the advantage in objectives for Genji.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a big argument to be made for that, for sure. Considering also, you know, there's a lot of gold on this Wukong. I feel like Canyon, his job, even though he's very far behind, is to press Impale at the right time and try not to die. So, you know, definitely a big jungle gap. And I think that Cuz, you mentioned it before, his Wukong is pretty legendary when it does come down to certain champions for Cuz. So certainly the angle's still there for him to carry. But I just feel like Canyon being this far behind isn't that big of a deal. But still has to have big, impactful Impales and be in the right position.
It's also,
besides that, the carries are on even footing.
Level 16 for BDD now. You know, he has that advantage over Chovy at full level, and he's going to have that advantage for the dragon fight. There's no way Chovy can get level 16 in the next 30 seconds. And whatever ultimate BDD steals, he has a lot of great choices here. He's going to make a big impact, but I think stealing the Alistar ultimate away is going to be his MO on this one, which means that Duro, who wants to be one of the best forms of engage here next to a Renekton, you know, getting to the back line or an Impale, is going to have to be careful about getting hijacked here. His positioning has to be phenomenal. Too late. There's the hijack. And they could just go back towards the dragon here. Chovy's going to TP to mid. And already Duckdom's on the dragon. BDD's just going to hold the line here with this stolen Alistar ultimate.
Yeah, I don't really know if Genji can do anything about this. They're going to try to go for the mid lane turret, but BDD's here. He's level 16. He's unkillable with that Alistar ultimate. It's better Alistar, basically. KT's still trying to set something up as they move over and clear out the wave.
Luckily for Genji, the fact that they're the ones on Soul Point affords them the ability to give up a few of these dragons like this before KT end up with that Giga advantage we've been talking so much about of the Soul for both teams. But I like it more for KT, but Genji obviously on the Soul Point themselves can just look for the play here, see the hijack and go, not interested in throwing the game on this one. Not going to hard force. It's only second dragon for KT. It's only their first Cloud Drake. And Chovy just goes straight back to side laning. That level 16 advantage was enough to get them. You know, I feel like with Chovy, he's realizing like there's not enough. They have the hijack on the Alistar. It's not enough for us to take this. It means KT get a dragon, but it's not the end of the world for Genji either. As long as they don't lose a fight hard forcing, they're very happy to continue the game from here. As the Victor is getting stronger and stronger, now has that arm guard. So extra safety, which is really necessary if you're going to win this upcoming fight. Chovy's getting closer to 16. His ultimate is very impactful as BDD.
I mean, he can steal the Dominus. He's level 16. But actually not going to have it, as now we do see Peter coming on over. Looks like it was off cooldown just before.
Yeah, it looked like he just maybe used the Alistar ultimate right before.
Yeah, that's probably why.
And then he didn't have his hijack up to steal the Dominus, but used the Alistar ultimate to deal with that gank. Because Peter's looking for the flash play.
Not the best engaged Renata, but it's still going to catch Ruler, as going underneath the turret does Cuz, as he has to do that after everything missed from Peter. But it was still a good idea. Not quite the Ruler spots, but it's still a Ruler.
All right, this is a Baron angle. I think that's why Canyon decided not to look for the Impale on the Cuz, because if he misses that, he doesn't have the Impale, then they surely lose the Baron.
But control ward doesn't block this ward here.
Yeah. Okay, Renekton pushing mid. Keen does have TP. They're going to have to be super fast with this. Or they look for the turn.
Yeah, no Renata ults here as well. Stolen Impale. It's going to catch Chovy, but the follow-up is denied by Duro. And the counter Impale comes in. No damage, though, Cuz still going to be going down. He has to get bailed out, as he does not actually get bailed out. Double knock up here.
Chovy.
Once again, Chovy very low. BDD wants the kill. Not the disengage cone. Wow, it's actually going to get him out here just barely. Meanwhile, we got a play up on the top side. Perfect will go down, as KT may be going a little bit deep for this one, and the Baron try gets denied.
BDD flashing but not securing the kill. Doesn't have his flash now. Looks for the re-engage.
Has to go in. He's got Dominus, actually, up against 3 people. The game just walks away. And GENG, they find the fight they were looking for.
And that is what I was saying. All it takes is one Baron, one Cloud Soul, one fight is going to secure that Baron for GENG, and now they're in full control of this game. They will have the Baron until the Cloud Soul spawns for them. As Ruler, a lot of CC here is absorbed. Obviously a bit of a miss there from Peter, but they still end up killing him in the end. And Canyon comes over, decides not to impale here. Actually gets knocked up away from it.
Yeah.
In fact, thought it was a decision, but it looks like Cuz just denied him. And then this fight here, I don't think Chovy's the best impale target, to be honest, on a turn, because he has the arm guard.
And watch Duro as well.
Duro comes in here, denies
no.
so much follow-up, and by the time Chovy goes super low, he's out of mana, he just can arm guard and survive the fight. Cuz can't get the reset, can't get bailed out. Keen wins the fight on Duck Dom, who's completely controlled the AD carry, and unfortunately for BDD, he's not going to be able to find anything in this one. No kill with the flash. And it's just perfect left out to dry. BDD then tries to escape and won't be lucky enough to do so. And now GENG, already 1,500 gold on the Baron power play here. 2,000 gold up. And it might be that they stop KT this time around, Valdez. For the first time this game, a gold lead. And with that 2 minutes of Baron, it's only 40 seconds to Cloud Soul. It's going to take a hell of a steal or a miracle here for KT to get back into this one.
Yeah. Not very likely for them. Keen level 18 already, just ahead of everybody. Even Chovy was able to overtake BDD after that last fight, even though BDD has the Rod of Ages. Most damage dealt by the Victor. Not a big surprise, you know, has Leandri's, is Victor. We're just gonna engage here. Straight onto the Renata, going pretty deep for this one, as that is a Silas with the Alistar ult. Chovy taking a bunch of damage, Ruler zoned away. Not sure about this fight for GENG, as that's gonna be 2 kills now. Canyon goes down right before the Dragon. KT are still in this game.
Oh, KT in control of this objective right now. And look like they're just gonna look for the smite on it. There's no contest, there's no enemy jungler. And KT will just take this one away. GENG losing a ton of Baron power here as well. And they're looking potentially for a dive here. That'll force the teleport out of Chovy. And that will mean that KT walk away. Ruler lives.
Hey.
Puzz picks up the 4K.
He did it.
I was a doubter earlier today, but I was a doubter that KT would bring us to 3 and that KT would look like they were going to win the series. They have not done so yet. We're on a 7 Elemental Drake pace here right now, as this fight is kind of, to be frank, like wholly unnecessary to engage into, especially with the Renata right there. The Berserk goes down, Chovy gets caught by it, eats a ton of damage from Ruler, and just cannot actually follow through. And even with the Alistar ult, I mean, it's not early game Alistar ult anymore, you're just going to get blown up. And GENG have to give away the Dragon. Canyon going in to follow up as well. Yeah.
He did that. I mean, BDD was holding Alistar ult, or at least holding Hijack, used it on the Alistar that's right there. Canyon solo impales a Silas with with Unbreakable Will. BDD immediately presses it, and Canyon immediately knew that he made a big mistake.
And I mean, the Renata ult just shuts everything down in a choke point like that as well.
We're engaging here for KT.
Okay, throwing Chovy in a dangerous spot.
Now stealing the impale this time around. The Renata ult's very confusing, but Chovy is still dead.
It cuts
Just
him
a
in half.
Chovy death.
Yeah, Chovy's dead. Keen's looking for destruction of this turret, but a TP will come through from Perfect. And, I mean, maybe Keen could look for the all-in here. It's not going to happen. He gets the turret, picks up the gold. Unfortunately for KT, they end up losing 2 turrets out of this because, yes, you got Chovy, but GENG had control of the mid lane, control of the bottom lane, so it looked like a cool play. They cut them in half. They get the kill on Chovy, but can they get more?
What are we doing here? We got a back? GENG are pushing?
Yeah, this is a little bit slow here. KT got the inner turret in the top lane, but GENG are getting inhibitor turrets, which is way more valuable. And by the time they back, GENG have already left. Just getting run around in circles. Look at this setup here. Look at where Ruler is on the map. He's rotating over to potentially save this play. When the Renata ult comes down, he's like, nope. Going straight mid. Keen going straight bottom. And Chovy dies here. And a very successful sacrifice with no objectives up for 2 critical turrets. And then the inhibitor turret follows because KT spends so much time trying to push that top lane that GENG trade up. They maintain a 2,000 gold lead here. And what is likely to go 40 minutes plus this game here. 4th item done for Keen. He has a GA now.
Yep.
And, I mean, it doesn't get wilder than this, but I still really like GENG's position in this game. Despite some errors, despite some big flubs, their macro has kept them in it. And this turret is still alive.
Somehow, not for very long, I think. I think this time, finally, KT figured out. They push forward, take a big turret here. And it's hard for me to say any team is in a big enough lead at this point. I really think it will just come down to setup. Like, it's close enough for 35 minutes in. The difference is less than 2,000 gold.
My concern here is that Keen can team fight and he has a GA, and it's a 2-item Yorick. He has tier 3 boots, but he's otherwise not really...
Tier 3 boots.
Okay, he got his Rookern. He can eat a little bit more damage from Chovy now. So he's a 3-item Yorick with tier 3 boots. But I just don't know how relevant he's going to be. The fact that they cleared out that inner and top lane, and that's where he is right now with no TP, means that that's where KT are going to have to leave him, likely. Maybe he could try to trade for an inhibitor if the Drake fight is slow, if we're taking a while to start that one up, if it's a little bit of cryo battle there. The longer he's able to respond there, or the longer that GENG are forcing the fight and not responding, maybe he can get something done. But I mean, they just don't have any like pushing wave up there. So yeah, he's up there, and Baron spawns first. Baron is
pretty interesting, actually.
Baron is not a objective I think that KT can start, even with this amount of control they have right now. And I wonder if they slow play it, if someone could just solo the dragon for GENG. It's not going to be Chovy who backs right now.
It would be a big risk if you leave someone on that who doesn't have TP. Definitely got to send, at this point for KT it would have to be BDD, but that's a slow take for a Sylas. It's all about the setup for Baron, it looks like. Tons of vision control here for the side of KT. They're looking for Keen,
yeah,
but he's able to get away. That's Renekton with GA, Flash, and level 18, so not going to commit to that play.
Dom, everybody has Flash here on KT. I mean, honestly, all 10 players have Flash.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wild fight, Valdez.
It's going to be crazy.
Trying to bait the Impale here. Cuz trying to get on top of this Skarner. Chovy playing so safe.
Even the Maiden's so tanky now. It's 4k health on the Maiden. And the Dragon's about to spawn here.
Here we go. GENG wrestled that Prio away.
They're sending Dom, but no vision?
No vision.
They started it. And KT, they know they got to push into this, but they just don't know what's on the other side. Bit of damage comes in, but it's only half health for now. BDD on the flank.
Perfect TP to the fight. BDD on the flank looks for Chovy.
Yeah, but damage goes into him. It's just a flip. It goes over to Canyon. But now we got the counter impale coming in. Big knockup from Duro, but where is the damage? Ruler is chipping through Cuz. The first one to go down. Ruler's okay, but Canyon getting low himself. BDD will be taken out by Ruler as Ruler looking for the double and will chase them down. KT, they get called on the bluff of the Baron. GENG, they take down the Baron. And they might just take this game. Perfect, and Peter still on the run. It doesn't look like they will go down, but the push is now coming in.
45 seconds. I think this game is done. Mid is open, and Ruler and Canyon will push to end it. Chovy with a fantastic Zonia's there in that last moment. And it looks like this time KT will not stop GENG, at least so far here on their perfect run. 16 will become 17 as GENG remain undefeated.
KT giving so much hope, bringing it to 39 minutes in Game 3, but GENG are just unstoppable. It's what we assumed. It took a lot longer than we imagined it would. But at the end of the day, GENG remain on top, and there will be no stopping this streak tonight.
Not tonight, but I don't think Bro can get it done. I think this will be a
never say never.
First 2 rounds. I never say never, but I will say I will predict, and I did predict GENG to win that series.
Same.
Chovy just seems inevitable. His positioning always seems in these fights. Like, sure, he got caught on that one dragon fight. Yorick goes down, then follow up from Cuz there, and you're like, oh, Chovy, that was a bit aggressive. But in these final Baron fights, like, he has his arm guard, he has his Zonias. He does the max amount of damage. It's like his full mana bar goes from 100 to 0. He's done everything that Victor has to offer. He literally couldn't do more. And he Zonias, and he doesn't die, and he cleans it up, and the Chaos Storm just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, there's a ton of knockups. Cuz is flying through the fight, but Chovy stands his ground. He stays firm. He, like GENG, are so inevitable in the late game, so good at team fighting, so good at macro. 0 and 7 in this game. 0 kills to 7. They maintained almost gold parity. They were playing the macro game. There's a Yorick on the other side, but it's a Lucian and a Renekton who are getting the inners, getting the mid inhibitor turret.
It looks like they want to stay on camera. They're like, oh no, let's send some more waves.
Remember, it started off with KT having such a lead.
Yeah, I mean, they had a big lead. I do feel like, as you were talking about before, it took so long for KT to try to extend it. Like, it was 2,000 gold for like 20 minutes or something ridiculous. After this play, I feel like this is where KT were like, I think they're gonna do it, you know? They get a double kill here. And it just felt like every time that GENG got caught out, it wasn't enough to get an objective. Like, even here, Chovy gets caught out, but the objective still went over to Canyon.
Only, like, if one of these dragons, just any of the ones that GENG got early went to KT, maybe they can close it out. This didn't happen, you know?
This moment where they get Ruler, it's like, okay, you got Ruler, but you didn't get the Baron. They tried.
Yeah, you didn't get the mid turret. Chovy in these,
they never broke open the game.
No mana, maximizes his value, almost goes down. Nope, Zonius, no bailout for you. And then the re-engage from Duro, gets a knockups, Chovy flashes away, escapes using the Cloud Rift and the Blast Cone. You can just never catch him. This is like one of those days, it's like, remember this day is the day you almost beat GENG. The day you were up 2,000 gold. KT fans will surely not
Even when
forget
GENG did this fight.
Yeah,
I saw this fight, I'm like, I think KT are winning.
Yeah, no, it's hard to feel like they were gonna lose after that. We skipped the last fight, but it's okay. It was a long game. There were a lot of highlights.
It was KT going all in, trying to flip the Baron, and then extending too far and never accessing the back.
It almost looks like the highlights were catered towards KT winning. Like, production also thought this one is theirs.
They knew 100% this time KT was going to win. The GENG players, I think they're mostly just complaining about how hard it was to win.
2024 spring, KT breaks the streak. 2024 summer,
They said
KT breaks the streak. Not in LCK 2025.
Yep, hasn't happened yet. And they said, you know, so difficult, so challenging. And then they said, Renekton is so reliable. And then someone said, told you to play Renekton already. So somebody on this team is a big Renekton fan, but it's not keen. But maybe after today.
So, Chovy Palm?
I mean, who else do you vote for? It's just another one of these angles where it's like, I don't think you're going to vote for Keen. I don't think you vote for Canyon. The Sejuani, that happened, right? You don't really vote for Duro.
I'll accept.
Maybe Duro?
I'll accept 4 votes for Ruler. Duro had a good game 1. Okay, we did the club thing. We had all the memes. It feels like 2 years ago, but that was really funny. He had a really good rel game. Maybe he gets 1 vote, but when in doubt, not sure. When in team effort, always vote Chovy.
I mean, when you look at the highlight packets as well, like you were talking about, it's like he doesn't die. Everything's perfect. He didn't make any mistakes this series. Like, his Corki was also good. Even though he wasn't able to quite carry that game, he's just inevitable.
He's just Chovy. And it's not like just Kellen. Like, when you say just Chovy, you say the word Chovy, and anchovies don't come to your mind.
No, not for us, at least. Not for fans of the LCK.
Greatest mid laner for several years now is what comes to mind. The only great LCK mid not to lift a Worlds trophy just yet. See if maybe this is his year. Wasn't able to get the Golden Road last year.
No.
But, I mean, this time they stopped KT, so maybe this time
maybe that's all they needed to do.
Maybe this time they don't get knocked out in the first round of Esports World Cup.
They are going to be playing, maybe, not 100%. If KT make it into the Legend group, they might be playing them 3 more times.
Ooh.
So 3 more opportunities for KT to get the upset.
KT winning
in the summer of KT.
KT winning 1 game here is really helpful, though, for them getting into Legend Group. So
it is.
If they had won the series, they're just a lock, basically.
Apparently, we have a tied result on the POM.
The casters don't break the ties, so...
Although it is the caster vote that does break the tie.
Casting vote.
Casting vote, sorry.
Yeah.
Not the casters breaking the tie with their vote. It's called the casting vote.
Yes.
Something I learned after 33 years and working at the LCK, that's a thing. The tiebreaker vote, it goes to our analysts.
Yeah, I didn't see...
Our analyst deskers, and let's see who the POM is going to be.
I didn't see who it was.
This is the Korean commentators. It's Ruler. Picks it up for 3 games of dominance. Didn't die in that first game. It was a 25-minute game. And then, you know, last fight, did a great job. He did get caught a couple of times, but he was pretty consistent as well.
His Kai'Sa was pretty good in game 2. Really hard to play into the Rise, as the desk mentioned, and I thought he had a pretty measured game despite the loss. He was my secondary vote for sure, and I think that last team fight, he looked really good in it, so I think that swayed a lot of people.
Yeah.
He got put on camera as well right after our production, and sometimes that sways votes, because it was pretty close. Like, I voted for Chovy, and I think that was pretty clear, but thought he had a phenomenal performance in the game that won them the series.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because it's a game 3 vote, but like he had such a good performance.
You're not the only one who voted for him, right? Because
Yeah.
it was tied, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
This is one of like, it was Duro and Rule that were tied. Wolf's the only
Yeah, you think it's like 6-6-1 for like Duro, but no, it's actually just you for Chovy. We will find out after the interview and going into the space, if you are curious about the votes. They do get revealed then. But yeah.
It's been a long day of LCK. It's very hot here. I'm very sweaty. I saw Lazy
Same.
Phil was sweating bullets during his POM interview,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing Ruler probably will be as well.
It is the summer of Korea, not the summer of KT yet. And we don't have technically an LCK summer anymore.
And it's also not technically summer yet either.
Well, yeah, but it's really hot, so
Yeah.
it's basically the summer of Korea. But not 100%. Not 100%. We're almost there. We're almost to the interview as well. Looks like we are ready right now, so I'm going to hand it over to Deer for the translation of the POM interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Ruler on the side of GENG. Congratulations! Wow, you must be so exhausted. How do you feel? You know, I was so tired. I'm actually sweating right now, but I'm just so happy that I was able to win. I would say, you know, like, I can't really think straight because it was so hard. Congratulations. Anyway, since you were able to ultimately secure that victory, and you know, last year, KT was the one to stop GENG's winning streak, and they were on a good momentum with their recent 6th consecutive win until today. So what did KT give you trouble with today? I think their drafting was pretty solid, so whatever comp they decided to use today in all 3 games actually did give us a lot of trouble. And game 1 was a dominant win by GENG, then game 2 gave you trouble due to the enemy's mid-jungle synergy. So what was the approach for the draft in game 3? To be honest, I really can't remember. I can't say, I can't collect my memory from that. It's just too much. And in game 3, the enemy Wukong made it so risky for you to dash forward and making it so tricky to play as a Lucian. So what made you pick Lucian in the end? So with the way things panned out, I feel like there were so much little option, and I think in the end I just decided that Lucian would be the best possible outcome and the choice to go with. And in game 3, you are behind with a kill score of 0-7 up until the halfway point. So what were you guys thinking? You know, because we had the objectives with the Drakes and everything, I think we were just looking for the late game. We said the game actually doesn't look too bad. It actually looks pretty good. And the early game was shaky, but GENG didn't give up. So you guys revealed your potential at the Baron teamfight and flipped the game around. So walk us through what happened here. Honestly, I can't remember, but I think we just tried our best to teamfight, and I think the way that our teammates were able to survive in the end was really the reason that we were able to win at the very end. You know, as you must have heard, the POM votes were very, very split. But who would you pick as the POM today? Honestly, I didn't think that I was gonna get POM today. I was quite flustered to find out that it was me, and I thought that Keen was the POM today. Honestly, because Keen did so well with Renekton, he was so on point. I would have given the POM to Keen. And for your undefeated round 2, only one opponent remains. It's the OK Savings Bank Brion. So what do you have to say? I would really like to beat OK Savings Bank Brion to wrap up round 2 undefeated. So we'll make sure to work hard to defeat them. And that's the end of the interview with Ruler, and back to the space. Thank you.